Hey, T-Sippers. Hey, T-Sippers. What it do? What it do? What it do? Please come in. Hitting the like button. So, I was kind of waiting to see what Candace Owens ops had to say after her one-on-one plus everybody have one. I'm sure they was expecting for Erica Kirk said Candace Owens this, that, and the other. Candace Owens got caught lying. Candace Owens. This Candace. They was expecting Erica Kirk to have one because she was doing interviews before her meeting, right? With Candace. She was all over everywhere. Where she at? Where she at? Ooh, where she at? Where she at? Where she at? I was kind of expecting to see her come back and debunk what little Candace said yesterday. Right? I see Piers Morgan. He kind of mad. They was waiting on bombshells. I had a few low lives come in my comment section. If you offended, I'm sorry. If you not let it fly. Yeah, I don't believe Candace. Candace is a liar. Lied about what? What has she lied about? That Erica Kirk has debunked. Huh? I said, ooh, they pissed. So now they finna be pissed for Erica. Erica listened for 4.5 hours. Understand? Shit funny to me. Listen, they listened to the little Candy lady. They listened to little Candace, her and her representative for 4.5 hours. And you mean to tell me they didn't come back with a ooh, she lying. My. We caught her red-handed. Lies all over the place. Hey, Janet, thank you. Hey, Samantha. I was really expecting that, y'all. I ain't gonna even lie. Whether it was the truth or not, I was kind of expecting folk to come out and say, aha, we told you she was lying, and Erica Kirk was the only one to stop her. Oh my, oh my. Oh me, oh my. What a well wee. Uh-huh. So I heard through the grapevine that they got on that chick who did that interview with CBS, trying to bait Erica Kirk in by saying it was Candace who's making millions and building her business and all of this off of lies and misleading. Word on the street is her job is in danger. Mm-hmm. For misleading and trying to pull Charlie Kirk's widow while she's in mourning. Hey, Cynthia. Yeah, in mourning for the loss of her dear Charlie. Yeah. And this cat here, you already had began to denounce pro-Israel. I don't know how I let that clip slip. I'm still digging for it though. You and that old dog head got into it. The dog headed one, uh, Barrett. Now I don't know. I don't know his name. Can't remember. Yeah, the one with the dog hair, Shapiro. Yeah, him. Yeah, yeah. And so now you mad cause Charlie Kirk's wife didn't put her Candace in her place, and now you pissed. But you ain't the only one. You ain't the only one. But isn't it ironic that Erica did not come in behind their meeting and denounce anything? Only good thing that's coming out, because she said yesterday, Candace, that is, that she was finna put the F to B in the eye on blast Kash Patel. And woe and behold, woe and behold, then Bongino quit. Evidence is shit finna come out. 4 laws been pulled. A lot. I wonder who you got. FBI messages leaking. Was Bongino the one that was leaking evidence to Erica? I mean, not Erica, to Candace. Somebody on the inside. What that girl say on Beloved? I want to feel it on the inside. Somebody on the inside been giving her intel. So, I don't know where to begin. I'm going to be honest. I'm still trying to recuperate. And I don't know where to begin. These are the breaks. Break it up, break it up, break it up, break it down. Yeah, I wanted to show. And Ghislaine Maxwell, she's saying she's spiraling so much out of control, she don't know what to do. She was promising things. I done lied. These people know I done lied. They playing evidence. Trump ass is being impeached. They putting up them articles. Every time I turn around, he doing crazy stuff. They figuring out this and figuring out that I don't want an attorney. I'ma represent myself. Let me be and let me free. Everybody trying to jump out the waters, huh? Everybody trying to get out. What? Oh, wow. Let me start with this chick who got blasted, Barry Weiss. She thought she was on to something big time. They booed her ass. Her own peeps. Hold on.
I'm only 40. Ignoring your
She thought she had something. Boy, they really thought they had Candace where they wanted her, y'all. I'ma say that. They really thought they had her where they wanted her. They thought that they had enough and the right person to shut her up for good. And that just did not happen. So I'm seeing people saying Candace fan base has turned on her for what? If they had, they were never paying attention. They was just in it for the hoopla. They wasn't paying no kind of attention. She made it clear that she wanted to talk to them, period. It was Turning Point USA, and if they were scared to do it, they put Erica up to it. She stepped to the plate. She said, "Batter up, whichever one it is. I don't care. I'm going to bat, and I'm finna swing at all of them." And she got a strike. So I don't know what what fan base don't believe her or are turning on her like she done sold out. Please, again, Candace ain't broke. And millions is what got Charlie unalived. Let's go. Let's listen to this guy talk about this Barry shit.
CBS News airs the first in a series of town halls and debates with public figures, starting with Erica Kirk. She, of course, is the widow of conservative activist Charlie Kirk, who was shot dead, assassinated just over 3 months ago. She has since taken over as CEO and chairwoman of his political youth organization.
See, that right there is the problem for me. This right here. This Big Daddy. See, this Big Daddy. Yeah, see, this is the turning point for me. Her and Big Daddy. This is where she started. Yeah, and won that pageant in 2012. She was already up under his arms and wings long before then. They was promising things. All them young folk who know Trump by any which way, whether groomed or boomed, were promised some things if they just went along with, you know, the operation. So this right here is the turning point for me and Erica. This is why she can't get no pass from me, because she's a Trumpette. She was a Trumpette before she was a Kirkette. Yeah. To me, she was a plant. You know, their marriage, their relationship. When did they date? Didn't they meet in 2019 and marry in 2019? Hey, Mrs. Tom, when did they date? Show some pictures. I'm glad Candace intro, she got a man with her and pregnant on something when she was a little girl, when she with a dude, you know, pregnant. And now there's pictures of her kids that look like her. Oh, excuse me, that look just like her. Just the, you know, way down there on the other end of the 50 Shades of Brown. You understand? But this was a turning point for me and Erica Kirk. This is why she gets a no for me.
CEO and chairwoman of his political youth organization, Turning Point USA. Charlie Kirk's final book, which was already in process, Stop in the Name of God, was published this week and is a runaway bestseller. They cannot keep it in stock. The town hall was recorded this week in front of an invited audience of young Christians, prominent religious leaders, and victims of political violence. Here's an exclusive clip.
I will never agree with political violence.
Yeah, I think I saw this, but you wouldn't agree that Trump is wrong for political violence. Yeah, no, this ain't the one. You won't agree that Trump is wrong for political violence. You won't agree that Venezuela boat shootings, bombings are wrong. Yeah. You know, it's too hypocritical for me. You know, which one is it? I had them all in order. Is this the one? Thank you, Janet. Yeah, this is the one. She takes the heat.
Scoop
Appreciate
into
you
cocoa season with our
too.
frozen cocoa concrete mixers at Culver's.
Stop struggling with quiet video like thousands do. Boost sound up to 600% loud.
Including the
Yeah, no, this is the one. What your head hanging down for? I appreciate you as well. Hey, Mimi. Yeah, what your head down for? Yeah, what your head down for? Like you finna come up with something meaningful. Yeah, you let this look fat chit chat. Yeah, I ain't gonna say fat face because my face is fat too. But her, you know, pull you in. Like I'm telling y'all went in. She been running her mouth. You been running your mouth all last week or so for you to only come up with nothing and still gonna have to let Candace run with it. They mad at you, boo-boo. They mad at you.
There's internal drama at CBS over this town hall. This event with Erica Kirk has led to backlash internally with staffers, with one telling The Independent, "How embarrassing. Barry's been editor-in-chief for 5 seconds and has revealed that all she really wants is to be on TV herself." The staffers' concerns seem to be confirmed by big-name advertisers who also appeared wary of Barry Weiss's town hall. According to Brian Steinberg at Variety, during the special, commercial breaks were largely filled with spots from direct response advertisers, including the dietary supplement Super Beats, the home repair service HomeServe.com, and Carfax.
They didn't put no money behind her.
Ownership data.
Candace,
Viewers of the telecast on
you got them
WCBS,
casting
CBS's
doubt all
flagship
over the
station
place.
in New York, even saw a commercial for Chia Pet, the terracotta figure that sprouts plant life after a few weeks. Direct response advertisers typically pay lower prices in exchange for allowing TV networks to put their commercials on air when convenience allows. A flurry of the ads appearing in one program usually offers a signal that the network
Did
could
they
not
bring up
line
the
more
pregnancy
mainstream
with Barry
support for the
Weiss?
content it chose to air. Jank, what do you make of that?
You know, my sense of it was they put it on a Saturday at 8 or 9 o'clock, which is a very, very dead time on television, because they just wanted this tape to exist. They wanted to be able to do this segment where Charlie Kirk's wife says, "Everybody shut up, don't ask any questions, and if you do, you're offending me." And Barry White's like, "Yes, mission accomplished." So she doesn't really care. She didn't think she was going to get ratings from this. Obviously, they couldn't get advertisers from it. She's not going to get any internal respect for this. It looked like a highly choreographed piece of propaganda, and now it's online, and they could always point to it and go, "That's it. If you question anything, you're offending Erica Kirk, and you should be shut down."
They don't have nothing to say. It didn't go their way.
And so I feel terrible for her and her loss, but that's not going to stop me from asking legitimate questions. Apparently, I'm 1,000 times the journalist that Barry Weiss is.
It's pathetic. All around. It's absolutely pathetic. I feel bad. I have friends who either worked at CBS or still work there.
Why?
I'm not asking them. I don't want to put them in any hot water. But I can't imagine how miserable it must be to work there. You know, we've certainly criticized legacy institutions, but if you're just at the news desk and you're just reporting, you're just writing what you
are they
observe,
blasting
what you see from an
CBS?
objective standpoint, you're putting the news out, and then you have this at the top. That's got to be infuriating, because it totally upends everything you've been working for, collectively building and carrying on that legacy of several decades. It's absolutely
Candace.
pathetic. And these advertisers,
You done flipped them again. They don't want to say
very,
it.
very bad sign. Yes, of course, like to your point, Jank, Saturday night is a dead zone for TV. But we're in holiday season. This is one of the biggest advertising moments of the year.
Oh, yeah.
Everyone is doing their Christmas shopping or their holiday
Absolutely.
shopping. Advertisers will blanket the airwaves whenever they can get a spot. And the fact that they are so bottom of the barrel for this segment.
Bottom of the
shows
barrel.
that Madison Avenue in general is like, I don't want anything to do with that, whatever that is. And it shows the...
Candace, you got them putting for bottom of the barrel. They thought that they was going to be able to stop you by putting Erica Kirk out there like she's somebody. Let's go. Like you was gonna be able to like she was gonna be able to debunk you, cause she knows her husband better than you, although y'all been friends for a very long time. Now, how long did they date? I'm gonna ask that again. Put that out there. How long? When did they date? We know they got married in 2019. Well, when did they date? When did they meet? Oh, so she really don't know him. Okay. I want to know, Candace, did you see her pregnant? I know they could stage that too, but carry on.
corporate aversion to Barry Weiss's leadership at CBS. So I'm really curious what this looks like in several months. But I think the point about from one of the staffers that she just wants to be on TV. This is just her show. It's very weird for the editor-in-chief of a news outlet to be on this special, especially for a TV network, to be the host of this special. She just wants to build up her own brand, which is all she has ever tried to do. Every grievance, trying to get a teacher fired when she was in college for being pro-Palestinian, the spin-off with the Free Press, everything. She tried to get fired from the New York Times. They wouldn't fire her, so she quit and wrote this letter about how unfair it was. They never fired her. They kept her there, but she wanted to be a victim. And now this quest to continue to build up her personal brand continues at CBS.
I'm going to say one last thing. Variety also reported when she first came in, she fired a bunch of people. Look, sometimes that happens. You've got a reorganization when a new owner comes in, and probably anybody in her situation would have to do that. But among the people that she fired was
did she
eight
know or not?
anchors.
No, she didn't know.
Everyone that she fired was a woman. Actually,
It's
in the beginning of
miscommunication.
Variety reported,
They're
it was
saying-
7 women and 1 man. But that man, they don't name who it is.
They saying that it was not a lie. It was just miscommunication. Miscommunication. Yeah, but it wasn't a lie. Okay. And that is this Barry lady.
Went into
Got the whole
her,
C to
Barry
be in
Weiss's
the S
office
looking
and
stupid.
complained and said, they don't let me do enough pro-Israel stories here. She's like, that's it, I've heard enough. You're off the list. You're back to being hired. And she then added another woman anchor to the list to fire instead. And
So CBS now is a full outright pro-Israel, and it has the pro-Israel push. So stay away from CBS. It's not catching the brighter stars anymore. Okay? It's counterfeit broadcasting system, service. Counterfeit. It's fraud. Make-believe. Hey, Monty Trekkie. It is not catching brighter stars. It's counterfeit broadcasting services for pro-Israel. That's it. So, do we need to broadcast CBS? Because that's what they own.
to the other reporters at CBS, that was the most balanced reporter they had in the Middle East. This was a person who covered the tragedies of October 7th and gave the Israeli perspective, etc., but also would do stories giving the Palestinian perspective. And Barry Weiss is like, oh, no brainer. Someone giving a fair, explanation of what's happening in Gaza, fired. You're pro-Israel, you're back in. It's over the top, guys.
Oh,
Variety's
yeah.
reporting.
They've been compromised. Very, very much so. Hey, Argentry. Oh, Janet. Okay, you swap back to this one. Hold on. Okay, so I could. Okay, so after this, then let's go to Kash Patel. Not Kash Patel. I'm coming up on him in a minute. Hold on, and then I'll go back to. No, why you leaving, man? Cause Candace, she done pulled the tail of FBI. Kash Patel.
And welcome back.
Oh, and welcome back to the broadcast. Breaking news. We got some breaking news. Yeah. Breaking news. We got the breaking news. Yeah.
Everyone, here to live now from Fox. I'm your host, Mike Page. We come back on the air for you with some breaking news regarding Dan Bongino. The FBI deputy director says that he will be leaving his position in the new year.
Why you leaving?
That he will resign from the bureau.
Where do we
go
from here?
Tumultuous tenure in which he
Where
clashed
do we go from here? Why you leaving? Danny boy. I honestly think Charlie is still alive. No shade. Erica is behind this with her weird. Now, no strings attached. If he alive, it ain't Erica. It ain't Erica. It is the F, the B, the I, the N, the Trump, and the pro-Israel. She don't have no power like that. She is an employee. She is a groomed woman. She is a Ghislaine Maxwell. She's a worker. You know, they don't have no respect for the females now. No. Hey, yeah. Nope. It would be because he wasn't going with the program. They had to yank him out of position. They had to pull him out. It's either that, so that they can continue with the mission with all of these perverts in this new world order, or he had a threat on his life and he had to disappear. But it was that I'll see you in Valhalla. It was a bunch of little things. It was the military on the roof, the military flying over. Yeah, no. If he is alive, he in Israel, and that's where he was gonna be when BB not gonna sue me was trying to get him to come, and he refused. They already wanted his business. That's why he offered him millions. That Erica told Candace that she didn't know nothing about. Well, how Candace know? Yeah. Now, why is he leaving? Now, he wasn't comfortable at first with them Epstein files. We want the files. We want the files. Say we want the files. Yeah, he turned that money down. Absolutely. So they gonna get the job done regardless. Now they still operating. Now they still doing business with people that Charlie didn't want to do business with. Why? I'm sure it's some foraging going on. I'm sure it's some things that's moving. Yeah, why would she move in position if she been at home all this time? Why? Why is she the CEO? And she don't know nothing that's going on. She trusting the people in position to operate. Because they were Charlie's chosen. They like family. Okay, family gonna get you. Family ain't like family used to be, baby. And they ain't your real family. But carry on, let's listen.
The deputy director says that he will be leaving his position in the...
Now remember, he ain't been the same since them Epstein files. Didn't I just ask about him not too long ago? Didn't I say we hadn't heard from Bongino?
And Bongino, the FBI deputy director, says that he will be leaving his position in the new year. He made that statement today that he will resign from the Bureau next month, ending a brief and tumultuous tenure in which He clashed with the Justice Department over the handling of the Jeffrey Epstein files and was forced to reconcile the realities of his law enforcement job with provocative claims that he made in his prior role as a popular podcast host. The departure, which had been expected, would be among the highest profile resignations of the Trump administration. It comes as FBI leadership has been buffeted by criticism over Director Kash Patel's use of a government plane for personal purposes and social media posts about active investigations. Bongino was always an unconventional pick for the #2 job at the FBI, a position that historically has entailed oversight of the Bureau's day-to-day operations and typically has been held by a career agent. Though he had previously worked as a New York City police officer and Secret Service agent, neither he nor Patel had any experience at the FBI before being picked for their jobs. Nonetheless, Bongino was installed in the role in March by President Donald Trump after years as a far-right podcast host, where he used his platform to repeatedly rail against the FBI and to encourage conspiracy theories related to the Epstein sex trafficking case and pipe bombs discovered in Washington on January 6, 2021. He did put out a statement on X just a little bit ago saying, "I will be leaving my position with the FBI in January. I want to thank President Trump, AG Bondi, and Director Patel for the opportunity to serve with purpose. Most importantly, I want to thank you, my fellow Americans, for the privilege to serve you. God bless America and all those who defend her." Just moments ago, President Trump was taking some questions from the media and was asked. Let's bring this to you right here on Live Now from Fox.
All right, well, that was a beautiful event for three great people. And they're now looking down, and their parents and wives and all of the people that were there were, devastated, but great people, great people. So thank you very much for being there. Yeah, she's doing a great job. Just a blockade. Not going to let anybody going through that shouldn't be going through. You remember they took all of our energy rights. They took all of our oil from not that long ago, and we want it back, but they took it. They illegally took it. Oh, Dan did a great job. I think he wants to go back to his show. Yeah, I do. Getting land, oil rights, whatever we had, they took it away because we had a president that maybe wasn't watching. But they're not going to do that. We want it back. They took our oil rights. We had a lot of oil there. As you know, they threw our companies out, and we want it back. Well, I think the message this evening is we inherited a mess, and we've done a great job, and we continue to. And our country is going to be stronger than ever before very soon. Thank you very much, everybody.
Those brief statements by the president, again, getting asked about Dan Bongino and telling reporters there that he did a great job and says that he wants to go back to his show, meaning the podcast show that Dan Bongino used to host there. So we'll keep an eye on that story. And of course, President Trump will be speaking once again to Americans. That will be happening at 9 p.m. Eastern, and you'll see it right here on Live Now from Fox.
What kind of gift can $29 get you these days?
Now he wanted to go back to be a
Because
podcaster.
there's someone overseas. Drop them in their ancestral village and give them a taste of their heritage.
You done had all type of people quitting and be. Thank you. Thank you, Janet. What this one say?
Okay, we now have multiple FBI sources that Trump is about to start firing people. Kash Patel, FBI director, and Dan Bongino, deputy FBI director. There is a major shakeup reportedly coming. And this tells us something bigger about how Donald Trump governs. And it really draws a very interesting distinction between the first term of Trump and who and how he hired then, and the second term of Trump, and I'm going to get to that in a moment. The reporting is FBI Director Kash Patel reportedly on his way out. Deputy FBI Director Dan Bongino
I got a feeling that he's going to try to
the
dispute
reason is
the
not
holidays by
ideology or
starting
internal
to disrupt the
resistance. It
holidays.
is incompetence that has now
I got a
become
feeling they
politically
finna start
inconvenient.
turning on him.
Trump is willing to
How
tolerate
can they steal
gobs, just
something they never
massive
belong?
of incompetence, as long as it doesn't start affecting the perception of Trump. And once that starts to happen, the heads typically start to roll.
Oh yeah, he wants a war, but the military is
so to speak, is
kind of
reportedly the botched
refuting
FBI
it.
response to the Brown
Don't
v.
want
Boone.
to.
You may remember that.
Oh
again,
no,
FBI
boy, it's getting
Director
ugly because Cash Patel
rushed
and
onto
these Epstein
social
files.
media
Friday's
to
the
brag,
day.
Oh, we've already got
Right?
a person of interest. Within hours, Rhode Island's Attorney General said, yeah, we released that person because there was no legal basis to hold them. They didn't have anything to do with the shooting. It was not an isolated incident. He has jumped the gun many times. He makes these dramatic public claims. They end up walking them back, and it just makes them look really bad. And inside the FBI, morale is reportedly at an all-time low because of the incompetence of leadership. And there are serious, if nothing else, there are really serious people who work for the FBI.
Yep,
They
and
are
making
saying
them look
the
stupid
agency
right
is
about
in
now.
shambles under
So
the
he
leadership of
can
this
say
people, and it is
it's stop
because
13
of
wars.
Patel
Oh
and
Lord.
Bongino. Bongino's situation is reportedly even more revealing. Staff say his office has been empty for weeks. Internally,
like
he is
it.
seen by the FBI brass as unserious, unqualified, and more interested in maintaining his media brand than running the agency. One source reportedly referred.
I
to
felt like he had
Bongino
been
as
MIA for a minute.
This is not Democrats. You know, this is
Thank
not
you, Queen.
Bernie or AOC. This is Trump's own people and the staff inside of the FBI. What I believe makes this moment important and different.
Trump went on a podcast White House hiring spree. What is that called when they have job fair? He had a podcast job fair. It started hiring strange, radical podcasters and putting their asses in the White House. I wonder, do he pay well? And I'm telling you something. This young lady is on to something. Somebody was leaking her information about them planes. The plane. And they really thought that Erica was going to be the one to make her shut up. She getting too close. She in every country. She all over the world. She global with this shit. She starting fires everywhere. In the U.S., multiple states. She going to France. She going to Egypt. She going to Israel. That ain't the real Pakistan. I be wanting to say Palestine, Texas. She too damn global. And then hell, we tried to scare her not to go live, and her ass didn't take the bait.
Is how it differs from Donald Trump's first term.
I don't care nothing
During
about
Trump's
that.
first presidency,
I don't care nothing about the
Trump
first
would often
term,
hire
second
people
term.
who
That ain't
were
what I'm on. I ain't on the first term, second term. I don't care nothing about
Whoever
that.
came up
Not
with
right
this
now.
badass thing deserves a fat raise.
But I
This
do
phone
want
stand
y'all
is
to know
totally beyond your
that
wildest
this
expectations.
FBI,
Apparently, according to
this FBI turnaround is not a coincidence with the way she been on her investigation. Somebody on the inside has given this woman intel. ballroom workers are suing Trump. It's not pay. Trump don't pay. It doesn't pay to do business with this man. You're gonna need all your money up front. Every dime. Every dime. If I mess up, screw me. But I need every dime to start. Absolutely not. How many times he filed bankruptcy?
We might soon be seeing the last of FBI Director Kash Patel and Deputy Director of the FBI Dan Bongino.
So his eyes didn't used to be buck. Okay, because that picture just then, he didn't have them buck eyes. He looked normal. He looked normal here. When did he become Buckeye Billy? When did he become Buckeye? When did he become this? So he one of them. He not real. He not real either. He one of them androids. What are the reptilians? Because this guy right here is not this guy.
The last of FBI Director.
They look totally different. I mean, by the eyes. This dude right here look kind of handsome. That is not him. The devil is a lie. The reptilian is a lie. You know, them eyes can't ever be straight, can they? They always got to go in. Yeah, what? They always kind of cuckoo cocoa eyes.
To reports, we might soon be seeing the last of FBI Director Kash Patel and Deputy Director of the FBI Dan Bongino. They could soon both be gone, or maybe one of them is already gone, actually. We're not sure. But why? Why would they be going? Well, Kash Patel has bungled maybe one too many responses to tragedies, to massacres, and Dan Bongino apparently literally has not shown up to work for weeks. And so there's 3 different sources inside of the FBI that have been talking to the media about this. And look, we know that Kash Patel has really bungled things in a way that has made him kind of a laughingstock both inside and outside of the FBI. And remember, he started off a laughing. He's not a guy who was qualified for the position. It was ridiculous that this fawning, sycophantic conspiracy theorist would be put in charge of the FBI.
Cartoon
it's
artist.
A dark mark that hopefully we'll be able to forget about in the future. That was how he started. And then, of course, there was this Sunday where we had the terrible shooting at Brown that left 2 students dead. So he posted on X this really long thing where he used a bunch of, like FBI-ish words that he probably had to Google to imply that he's doing geolocation, and thanks to that, we've caught a person of interest. And I think that if you've been paying attention to Kash Patel and the FBI throughout this year, it kind of felt like the immediate aftermath of the killing of Charlie Kirk, where FBI Director Kash Patel wants to seem like he's got things under control, so he jumps out there and perhaps jumps ahead of the facts, and that is what happened here. So he's got another long message you can see. It's just everybody stop tweeting long ass. If you want to write a book, okay? Don't do it bit by bit on Twitter. But anyway, no, they didn't catch the right person. And by the way, that itself is not a major issue or a major surprise. It's just that he shouldn't have posted the tweet in the first place.
Thirsty.
You're in the immediate aftermath of something like that, okay? They're getting the video, they're talking to people, they're pulling people in. Just let it chill for a second. But he's so hungry. He's so try-hard. He is so horny to seem like he knows what he's doing.
Did he call him horny?
Again, he jumped out and made it seem as if they caught the person, and they didn't. And that makes it twice as bad for everybody. People are already scared. And then they get a brief moment of thinking, oh, we got the guy? And then, oh, wait, no, we don't, actually. And then the fear, the terror that it could happen again comes rushing back in.
He did that again?
Kash Patel did that, okay? And it was the second time that he did it. Remember, this same thing happened after Charlie Kirk was killed. Take a look.
When we were still looking for the guy, I know you posted that we got him. And that ended up not being true. You took some incoming because of that. What led to you posting that? Why did you feel so certain about it? And what do you have to say about the criticism?
Somebody else's fault.
No, I appreciate this opportunity. Look, As I stated, I was being transparent with working with the
Cartoon
public on our
character.
findings as I had them. I stated in that message that we had a subject and that we were going to interview him, and we did, and he was released. The job of the FBI is not just to manhunt the actual suspect who did the killing or suspects, but it's also to eliminate targets and eliminate subjects who are not involved in the process, and that's what we were doing. Could I have worded it a little better in the heat of the moment? Sure. But do I regret putting it out? Absolutely not.
First of all, let me just say, I love that his voice is exactly what it is. I wouldn't change anything for him. I'm very glad about that. But second of all, yeah, he's very glad for the opportunity to answer to the fact that people are losing faith in him. And it's just, we have to eliminate targets. No, we understand that. The FBI, the actual people in the FBI, they understand that. Nobody's questioning any of that, Kash. Nobody's questioning the process. They're questioning you and the fact that you keep trying to make yourself look cool. You're the one that flies out and then takes coats off of people and then begs for patches to make yourself. You are so pathetic and cringy. You honestly make Kristi Noem look a little bit less embarrassing by comparison. She gets covered a lot more for that sort of thing, but he is just as desperate to look serious, to look reputable as Kristi Noem. We need to make sure that we spread the criticism out. That's what they were criticizing. And so, this is 2 strikes now. And it's making the FBI look like a laughingstock. This is not what Donald Trump chose him for. I don't know what Donald Trump chose him for, but it definitely wasn't this. So he could be going soon. According to those 3 sources, the FBI is in shambles. Morale is at an all-time low. The cause is at the top. Yeah, it was a dude who wrote a pathetic, fawning children's book and did some podcasts, and that was it. That's why he chose. If I was a lifetime, career FBI agent, I would probably be in low morale too. But it isn't just him. It's also Dan Bongino. You haven't heard a lot about Dan Bongino for some time, and there's a reason for that.
Epstein files.
He's not really doing anything. He's occasionally tweeting about something that the FBI is doing, but that might make it seem as if he's involved in it. I mean, after all, he's part of the leadership of the FBI, right? Maybe, kind of. According to reports from inside of the FBI, he has not been seen in his office for more than 2 weeks. It has apparently been empty for half a month at this point, indicating to some that he has actually already left the agency. It just hasn't been announced yet. And that might seem a little bit crazy, but remember, Trump wants to make it seem as if there's not this turnover, that the embarrassing, pathetic toadies that he chose to staff his regime with don't need to be replaced and actual experts put in. And so one way that you do that is by not actually firing them. But if it comes to the point where you have to fire them, or maybe Dan Bongino realizes that his reputation is just taking too many hits over the fact that he's just sitting, in the Epstein investigation cuck chair and doing absolutely nothing for the victims, maybe he wants to leave and he just doesn't want to be around anymore. But either way, he apparently hasn't been working. And if that's the case, I feel like he shouldn't be getting paid. Doesn't he kind of owe us? But we pay for that. We pay for his salary. If he's not actually clocking in, why the hell are we paying him that? And I'm assuming it's quite a bit of money. So anyway, if he does go, I think that the FBI is going to be perfectly fine with it. One of the staffers asked by Salon said, "Nobody here will miss him," of Dan Bongino. He has no credibility, obviously. But again, who would expect that? It's Dan Bongino. Who thinks he had any credibility? I guess Trump. I guess Trump is stupid enough to look at Dan Bongino and be like, I guess he looks like he could be an FBI guy or whatever. No, Trump. He was never made for the job. He had no prior FBI experience. He had previously been a Secret Service agent and a New York police officer. I would love to talk to people who knew him when he was in the Secret Service about what he was actually doing at that point. And then he was a crappy podcaster. He got fired by the NRA network, and eventually I think he worked for Fox or whatever. It's utterly, that's what he's made for. And by the way, remember, he did that interview not that many days ago where he talked about his past. I think he's starting to miss it. When you can just pull conspiracy theories and racist tropes out of your ass and for some reason generate an audience and get paid for it, maybe that's what he's been doing for the past couple weeks, is prepping for the launch of his next show. Anyway, if he doesn't...
Anywho. Okay, so enough of inside the class. Let's see this right quick before I go back
Yes,
to
this is why I switched to injection-free weight loss.
inside the
I was
class.
eating healthy, working out every day.
Deputy FBI Director Dan Bongino is preparing to leave his position after an 8-month tenure that was anything but quiet, marked by internal clashes, public scrutiny, and efforts to distance himself from conspiracy theories.
Baby. Ooh. What's up with your skin? What the hell? Wait. Now, I know I said 50 Shades of Brown, baby. I know, but you know. What in the bad tan makeup job is this? Was somebody trying to be funny? Was they trying to make him a member of the 50 Shades of Darker End of the Brown? Y'all, what is this? What in the world? Let me remove myself from this equation. I don't even want to be parts of this. What? Yeah, what is this? What? Help! What is this? What is this? I mean, this look like it's patched, like patty cake, baker's man. What is this? Are you sick? Do you got that nasty man's disease? What is this? Are you just trying to be a part of the Brown? You don't want to be a part of that Zionist no more. You want you want God to come back for you too? You don't want to make no mistakes about that you are 50 Shades of Brown. You are chosen just like the rest of us. So you want to act like you are going to be called in that number. His nerves bad. It's reflected. He said Trump chose the wrong color. He chose orange. I'm choosing brown. Y'all, I was not expecting this. I just was not expecting this. I just was not. And why is it patchy? Are you sick? Oh, Lord, let me go on. Are you sick? Do you know CB in the Mo3 sector? Damn. Do you know CB? She got that nasty woman's disease. Do you know her? Y'all better stay away from that. I heard she handing out coochie like it with coochie coupons. You come back and get that shit later. If you ain't feeling it today, here's a coupon. You come back and get it now. It's dirty down there. It's sick. It's sick as shit. So she say. Yeah. And she don't know where she got it from. So she say, well, baby. He look like Hannibal. I can't get past that shit. He look sick. He look like he been with CB. Huh? And he got that nasty woman's disease. Oh, Lord, my charger ain't charged. My battery ain't charged. Let me stop. Lord, let me stop. Got to be more careful. Y'all better be glad I've been having charger issues. Baby, because this shit right here, this right here is too much for me. Let's
Once
go.
promoted, President Donald Trump confirmed Bongino's departure to reporters on
It's
Wednesday.
too much. Too much.
Shortly after Trump's remarks, Bongino himself confirmed the timeline, posting on X that he would
Drinking
leave in
too
January.
much liquor and not enough water.
Dan did a great job. I think he wants to go
What'd he
back to the
do?
show.
Bongino wrote, "I will be leaving my position with the FBI in January. I want to thank President Trump, AG Bondi,
Let's
and
say you
Director
already
Patel for the
gone, man.
opportunity to serve with purpose. Most importantly, I want to thank you, my fellow Americans, for the privilege to serve
Lord,
you.
Lord,
God
Lord.
bless America and all those who defend her." Before Trump's comments earlier that day, Bongino was spotted participating in a gingerbread house decorating contest at FBI.
Oh, hell. He wanted him. That this is not the same guy. Nah, I ain't going. I ain't going. That ain't the same guy. That's not the same guy. That brown man. That brown man that was on he's sick, y'all. Him sick. Him sick. He one of them rapatoolies. He's sick. Him sick. Mm-mm. 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 Mm-mm.
Bongino was spotted participating in a gingerbread house decorating
Did he put the
contest
gingerbread
at
on his
FBI
face?
headquarters, an appearance that gave no outward indication that an announcement about his departure was imminent. Inside both the White House and the FBI, Bongino's exit had long been expected. Officials familiar with internal planning believed he would leave after roughly a year in the role. In recent days, that expectation appeared to solidify as Andrew Bailey, the co-deputy director, began taking over meetings that Bongino was originally slated to lead. Behind the scenes, Bongino had grown increasingly frustrated with the position. He complained publicly and privately about the tedious nature of the job and the toll it was taking on his personal life, according to officials familiar with his thinking.
Your personal life. Hell, all you had to do was take the FBI plane and take her on a rendezvous like Chipmunk did. That's all you had to do was steal the FBI plane to impress her ass. What was wrong with you?
Familiar
But
with
it
his
was
thinking.
deeper than that, I
Some
know.
FBI officials believe Bongino would leave shortly after the arrest of the suspect in the 2021 pipe bomb case earlier this month. The case held particular significance for Bongino, who had been fixated on it long before joining the FBI. During his time as a media figure, he devoted numerous episodes of his show to conspiracy theories alleging that the pipe bombs planted near Republican and Democratic Party headquarters on the eve of January 6, 2021, were an inside job. However, in the days following the suspect's arrest, Bongino told colleagues he had not yet made a final decision and might remain in the role through the start of the new year. As a result, some officials inside the FBI were caught off guard by the president's announcement on Thursday. The FBI declined to comment on Trump's remarks regarding Bongino's departure. Before taking on the role of deputy director, Bongino was best known as a former Secret Service agent who once protected President Barack Obama, and later as a highly successful conservative podcaster and outspoken supporter of Trump. His appointment represented a sharp break from tradition for the FBI, where the deputy director role has historically been held by a career
He don't want to
agent
be
rather than
responsible
a
for all them
partisan
lies
appointee.
that he know
Bongino
gonna
had
be
pledged to eventually
exposed.
return to his media career, but that path became a persistent complication as he attempted to reshape the bureau. His former public persona followed him into the job and often clashed with the expectations of FBI leadership. Earlier this year, Bongino and FBI Director Kash Patel raised concerns with senior Trump administration officials about how Attorney General Pamela Bondi and the Justice Department handled the aborted release of documents related to sex trafficker Jeffrey Epstein. Bongino went further than Patel, threatening to resign after officials backed away from promises to release the documents. Both Bongino and Patel favored greater transparency and the release of more material. During a meeting with White House Chief of Staff Susie Wiles, Bongino implied that he could not continue serving as deputy director while Bondi remained at the helm of the Justice Department. After that confrontation, he skipped work entirely, leaving senior officials uncertain whether he would return. Roughly a month after those threats, Patel announced that Bongino would be joined as deputy director by Bailey, who previously served as Missouri's Attorney General. The move appeared to signal an effort to stabilize leadership as Bongino's future at the Bureau grew increasingly uncertain.
They say his wife left. Is she gonna come back now that he leaving? It was clear to me he wasn't gonna stay when he left after them Epstein files, them lies and stuff, and yeah, it was, yeah. He left for about, he went on leave. Remember, for about they looked like a dang month, and then he just kind of went quiet. And he didn't want to answer no questions about them Epstein files. Let's hear this little argument for a little bit. Then we're going to get to
That's
Candace.
what a grand conspiracy act.
Yeah, because this guy here was expecting something else. He was one of the ones that thought Candace was going to be put to shame. And she cracked his face.
What you may or may not have discussed in that meeting, what part of the stuff that you...
No, why you not expecting for Erica to tell you?
Perhaps for the benefit of CBS and trying to pretend to be an impartial.
Amid all of that, she joins me now for her first interview since the
Shout out to Candy. Candy lady.
It's good to be with you at the end of another year.
Yes, and what a year it's been, not least for you. It's fair to say your fame continues to rise, infamy some would put it, but you're always a welcome guest on Uncensored. Let's get to this extraordinary meeting that you had with Erica Kirk. It came right after we saw her say in that CBS town hall, you should stop, just stop with the conspiracy theories. So who approached who about you guys actually getting together?
I was approached by Turning Point after Blake Neff, who works on Charlie's show, sort of fumbled this invite. It was, I'd almost say it was a fake invite publicly. And then in the middle of the night said, oh, Candace is not able to be here tomorrow. And they never messaged me. And I think there was quite a bit of public backlash with how they went about it. It just was just not the way that we try to set meetings. And so what happened after was they reached out to me, said Erica would agree to do a live stream, just the two of us. And then after Erica's PR blitz, they reached out again and said that they felt that it was better for us to meet one-on-one as opposed to us sitting down having Megyn Kelly moderate, which was the idea originally.
Right, and so where did you have your summit meeting?
At a hotel here in Nashville.
And a lot of your, as you know, a lot of your supporters, fans of your show, think that you may have been lured into a trap. Did anything while you were there make you think you were being lured into a trap?
I don't know that a lot of my fans think that I was being lured into a trap. I think ahead of time they had some concerns, obviously, because I think in general, after you see a public assassination and you start tracking so many lies that are happening, there's going to be an understandable amount of angst that people feel. And I certainly felt angst as well. I've obviously been very clear that I am suspicious of some of the characters that are at Turning Point USA, so I totally understand why the public was concerned.
When you saw Erica, she was obviously angry about you in that CBS town hall. What was her demeanor like when you met her?
Well, I don't think that she thought she was angry in that. I think maybe that was the characterization from the public. I certainly thought she was angry as well, and she sort of clarified that she was a bit annoyed by the questioning, the way in which Barry had set up the question with the podcaster Candace Owens, which I think was definitely being driven more by Barry Weiss's feelings towards me, long-running feelings towards me, than it was perhaps for the benefit of CBS and trying to pretend to be an impartial journalist. So I think she was frustrated by the line of questioning, is what she explained to me.
If you saw the news, but Fox News is claiming President Trump is declining in the polls, and President Trump responded.
Ain't no way I
So
could be
how would you
in
categorize the 4.5 hours?
and another
If you were looking at it
man
in
and I'm
totality,
married with
what
best
was the
friend.
tone of the conversation? What do you think you both got out of it?
Well, for me, answers to the questions of trying to understand why there were so many turning point lies and why instead of people acknowledging that these are lies, I felt that there was this billion-dollar psychological operation to convince people that Candace is just crazy. These aren't lies. These are made up. And so I was very refreshed that
See, I don't know if I would go to this degree, no strings attached, but they started Turning Point together. And in a sense, something, their directive, I'm assuming, made him feel like he needed to fire Candace, which should have hindered a friendship, and maybe it did slightly, but they regained it. So who she is, to some degree, is behind her friendship with Charlie. So now you gonna take him out as he was coming to terms that they have played us. They've played us. They played us. They led us to believe, and now they try to take me out. Oh man. I don't know how long this is gonna stay up because I'm my charger. But let me say this. Maybe a little sacred blade because of how they turned on both of them and then tried to take them out. Okay, let's go.
they owned up to the lies. That was a great first step. And I think
Let's go.
from the public, I certainly thought she was angry as
Are
well.
we still
and
buffing?
She sort of clarified that she was a bit annoyed by the questioning, the way in which Barry had set up the question with towards me than it was perhaps for the benefit of CBS and trying to pretend to be an impartial journalist. So I think she was frustrated by the line of questioning, is what she explained to me.
So how would you categorize the 4.5 hours? If you were looking at it in totality, what was the tone of the conversation? What do you think you both got out of it?
Well, for me, answers to the questions of trying to understand why there were so many turning point lies and why instead of people acknowledging that these are lies, I felt that there was this billion-dollar psychological operation to convince people that Candace is just crazy. These aren't lies. These are made up. And so I was very refreshed that they owned up to the lies. That was a great first step. And I think, you know, what motivates that? Maybe because despite having what I would assume to be the best PR agents and crisis PR agents in the world, we're moving toward a different world where people don't really care, you know, if you are friends with the people at, WME and CAA and what they can do for you. That sort of power is ineffectual in this day and age. And so I think they recognize that, and that the public simply doesn't believe the story that they've been fed, and the psychological operation to convince us not to believe our own eyes or to trust our common sense instincts has failed.
Big time.
I think on their end, they got more clarity on how I figured out certain things, more clarity on why I am convinced that there are people that are inside of Turning Point that are dirty. And
How she
I was
how
able
she
to share
obtained some
our
things.
friends with the people at WME and CAA and what they can do for you. That sort of power is ineffectual in this day and age. And so I think they recognize that, and that the public simply doesn't believe the story that they've been fed, and the psychological operation to convince us not to believe our own eyes or to trust our common sense instincts has failed.
Okay,
and I think on their end, they got more clarity on how I figured out certain things, more clarity on why I am convinced that there are people that are inside of Turning Point that are dirty. And I was able to share more with them off record, and I think that they got more clarity in exchange.
Before we get into some of the sort of specifics, is there not a danger here? I've already seen it in some of the reaction from people that follow your show.
What reaction?
Is there not a danger that in seeking to be the one that exposes the truth?
What reaction?
And I don't know the truth about what happened to Charlie Kirk. I work on the assumption that this lone, twisted, weirdo Tyler Robinson killed him for whatever reason, and I suspect personally that is how this will play out. However, I have an open mind. In the
So
sense
it's
that
okay
we
for
still
him to
don't
have an
know what
assumption.
happened with President Kennedy's assassination. I found the attempted assassination of Donald Trump very odd in the way that's been handled by the authorities and so on. I'm not naive. As a journalist of 40 years, I'm not naive enough to say every single thing you've been saying is obviously baloney, because I don't know. And we'll get to some of the more specific details. But is there not a danger, Candace, that by having a 4.5-hour private meeting, rather than doing it in public, that all you're really going to do, collectively actually, you and Erica Kirk, is fuel the conspiracy theories about what you may or may not have discussed in that meeting, what part of the stuff that you've been broadcasting on your show she agrees with and doesn't agree with, and so on. Is there not a danger this is the least transparent way of going about trying to get solutions here?
Well, I'm a very transparent person, so my preference was to do it publicly, but I took the offer, obviously, to have any conversation, because if I hadn't done that, then I think everything I've been doing would have appeared disingenuous. Like, oh, Candace is pretending that she wants answers to her questions, but when she got this offer, she suddenly said she didn't want to go because it wasn't public. They would have felt like I was moving the goalpost. So I was willing to take anything. And from their viewpoint, they felt like after the CBS News and the Fox News hits that Erica did, it was... my understanding was that they felt that it was a good idea to bring the temperature down first by having us sit down and communicate. And that doesn't mean that they necessarily say, oh, well, that's it. Now we're not going to have any other public discussion. I'm hopeful they will. I think they should. I totally agree with you. More transparency, the better.
Who else was in the meeting? Erica was there. Who else was there?
Justin Strife, who is the COO of Turning Point USA, and my husband was only there for a portion of it, and my cousin.
So there were no lawyers, for example?
No lawyers. But they did phone their lawyer because I asked the question. I was like, look, I'm open to being wrong, obviously. If there is something, which I think the media was kind of hinting at, that they had more but they couldn't share it with the public, I said, I'm happy to keep my mouth shut, and I want to feel good walking out of here that there is something there. There is some sort of a smoking gun, and I will tell viewers just to be patient. And so they did call one of the lawyers working on this case, and it was not convincing at all. He said, in effect, all we have is what the public has seen, and we won't know more because we're investigating and looking for more. And so that just made me go, why is everybody being so over the top and ridiculous and using words like the evidence is overwhelming? It was Tyler Robinson, when they don't have anything that's overwhelming to show evidence. They don't have a video of him taking the shot, which I think was something that I assumed, like, okay, there's all these cameras, maybe they actually have that video.
So they've been pulling our leg.
He said, in effect, all we.
So what did they?
At all. He said, in effect, all we have is what the public has seen, and no lawyers. But they did phone their lawyer because I asked the question. I was like, look, I'm open to being wrong, obviously. If there is something, which I think the media was kind of hinting at, that they had more but they couldn't share it with the public, I said, I'm happy to keep my mouth shut, and I want to feel good walking out of here that there is something there. There is some sort of a smoking gun, and I will tell viewers just to be patient. And so they did call one of the lawyers working on this case, and it was not convincing at all. He said, in effect, all we have is what the public has seen. And we won't know more because we're investigating and looking for more. And so that just made me go, why is everybody being so over the top and ridiculous and using words like the evidence is overwhelming? It was Tyler Robinson, when they don't have anything that's overwhelming to show evidence. They don't have a video of him taking the shot, which I think was something that I assumed, like, okay, there's all these cameras, maybe they actually have that video and they're waiting for a moment to release that to the public. They don't have that. Or at least I can say Erica's side has not seen that, and the lawyer communicated to me that they would not have access to that until earliest would be May. That right now they're just investigating, just like we're doing back at home.
Okay, you said that your motive for going to the meeting was that you would be able to come out and tell the...
Okay, y'all, I need for y'all to take a minute to double tap the face of your phone. It's 334 people listening in. Hi. Hello. Welcome to the Tea Palace. But can you just double tap your phone? It's real quick, real simple. Do. It's free. It won't be a charge. You won't get a bill for it. Just double tap. Like hit the mic. And then we can move forward. I know there was a slight delay. I think I fixed it. I think I've gotten a charger that really works. But I need to get the likes up. I'm at an hour and 16 minutes in. 262 people right now. Only 63 likes. That's not going to work. I'm going to need for like 200 of y'all to drop. If you're not going to hit the like button. That'll work. Come on. Either drop, go somewhere else, or double tap the face of your phone. 184 in here now. Double tap the face of your phone. Double tap 2 times. Or there's 3 dots at the top right corner. There's 3 dots. 1, 2, 3. They're on top of each other. If you can hit that, it'll take you to the like button. If you can hit it real quick. Thank you, Dorothy. Hey, Janet. Come on. Let's have a tapping contest. Who can tap the fastest? Toot toot. Who can type the fastest? Boop boop. Hey, Sharon. Hell, let's even tap Pierce. Tap him too. Come on, the quicker we get the taps up. It's 235 of y'all in here. It's a whole lot of more tea to listen to. Okay, next time I have to, I'm. You better ask them. Will I disappear? Sharon Humphrey. Hey.
Well, Tyler Robinson killed Charlie Kirk. So, are you in a position to say that? Do you believe, as a consequence of your 4.5 hours?
Access to that until earliest would be May. That right now they're just investigating. Just
So they've been lying in our face.
Okay, you said that your motive for going to the meeting was that you would be able to come out and tell the world Tyler Robinson killed Charlie Kirk. So, are you in a position to say that? Do you believe, as a consequence of your 4.5 hours with Erica, do you believe that it is now most likely that Tyler Robinson killed Charlie Kirk?
Absolutely not. I haven't seen one piece of compelling evidence that Tyler Robinson scaled the rooftops like Spider-Man on a college campus that he didn't go to and fired one shot, a magic bullet shot, and killed Charlie Kirk. I have not seen one piece of compelling evidence. In fact, I've seen more compelling evidence to the contrary.
Ooh-wee. Okay, y'all gonna make me, I'm gonna disappear again. Next time I'm gonna be gone. I'm not gonna come back. Gotta get the likes up. Double tap the face of your phone. Double tap the face of the phone.
Ads illuminating billboards and train stations for many years. Now it's time you actually saw the show.
It's overwhelming. Maybe he didn't say the...
Who does Erica think killed her husband?
Well, I think that in her recent PR blitz, she sort of communicated that she trusted her team, and her lawyer was using kind of the same rhetoric that the media has been using, where, you know, there's really, this is like, you know, it's overwhelming. Maybe he didn't say the word overwhelming, but he was like, it's very clear, I think is what he said in particular. And then I pushed back and I said, what's clear? The affidavit? That's all you guys have? And I did tell him, if you would never be my lawyer, because it's just, you know, a lawyer that's just kind of giving you adjectives, and I don't need a cheerleader, I need someone to be practical and to say, and I did tell him, if the affidavit, that's all you guys have, and I did tell him.
The affidavit, that's all they, that's it.
Overwhelming, maybe he didn't say the word overwhelming, but he was like, it's very clear, I think is what he said. In particular,
the affidavit.
Then I pushed back and I said, what's clear? The affidavit.
What's clear? They clearly don't have nothing, y'all. They are clearly playing in our face. You have a fake affidavit from Kash Patel now, because that's made up. That was made up. The gun, the bullet with the engraved. Because remember, months after that, they had the situation in Dallas. Same type of little MO, you know, bullet, engraved bullet, Kash Patel, same thing. Now, once people start calling it out, it ain't happened no more. It hasn't happened again. Y'all double tap the face of y'all phone. Let's get the likes up. So they don't have nothing. And they've been playing in our face. That's why all this time we hadn't seen Tyler Robinson until the T-Sippers called it out. And we asked for a wellness check, remember? And then the next day or two, voila, he's in court and he's there looking deranged, like he is a mechanical person, like it was something AI generated or created, like it's for a movie scene or something. Like, well, what is this? And, you know, kind of, you know, like it's a robot and somebody is controlling the movement and the head movement. It just looked real Hollywood to me. Futuristic, kind of like they had us thinking that there really was a man on the moon or went to Mars or whatever shit, and now we finding out years later that wasn't even true. It was mechanically operated. Hey, we love Poppy J.
David, that's all you guys have, and I did tell him,
damn affidavit.
You would never be my lawyer. Very clear, I think is what he said in particular. And then I pushed back and I said, what's clear? The affidavit? That's all you guys have? And I did.
I know she wanted to laugh in their face.
You would never be my lawyer. Because it's just, you know, a lawyer that's just kind of giving you adjectives, and I don't need a cheerleader. I need someone to be practical and to say, we don't have anything yet. I think the communication should be, we are hopeful that throughout this investigation, we are going to uncover more evidence that links Tyler Robinson to this crime. I do feel confident that he was involved in some capacity on that day. As I have said many times on my show, I was the one who broke the story that he was at the Dairy Queen throwing out clothes, a local Dairy Queen, throwing out clothes.
I think if he was there, he thought he was on a movie scene.
I do think he was involved, and multiple people were involved.
He was on a movie scene, y'all.
He did pick up clothes. I had communication with Lance's family. I had communication with Tyler Robinson's family. And for some reason, Lance is being protected, which I find to be very strange. His own family thinks he's guilty of more, and they find it weird that the feds kind of glossed over him, almost as though he was a Fed operative, like he was working on.
He getting antsy. He getting antsy.
You know, we caught the feds have lied a lot. It's just
the feds have lied a lot.
People have lied a lot. That is a fact, which they have agreed to. They said that these were mistakes, but they, you know, whether a mistake or not, the public was lied to.
So their mistakes, their lies are mistakes. I told y'all. It was just a little white lie. It was a mistake. Look over it. Look over it. We make mistakes. Okay, potato, potato. Tomato poop, you know. It was a mistake. It wasn't a lie. Really, you can't really count it as a lie, can you? Hell yeah. Hell yeah. It wasn't no damn mistake. You knew exactly what you was doing. You just wasn't expecting for nobody to catch it. And you thought by now Candace Owens would have let it go. God dang. They want to cuss her ass out. God damn. That's why that Tim or Timette or him shim ham, baby, when he didn't have his toupee on, he didn't have his lace front on. I know why he angry. He can't find his hairstylist, but I'm going to leave him alone. I'm going to leave him alone, baby. That bald spot is something to be pissed off about. You hear me? And whoever caught him slipping, I know he want to whoop that ass, but carry on.
So this obviously, matters deeply to me, and it's just absurd that people would think that I'm doing this for clicks. I know Charlie. I knew Charlie. Charlie and I are very close, and it has been one of the most disgusting things ever that people, first and foremost, tried to start this psychological operation that Charlie and I hadn't spoken since 2019. They've lied about virtually everything that I've said on my podcast. I'm not going to let this go. Okay, we don't live in a country that is the embodiment of democratic principles. If Charlie Kirk gets publicly executed and the media apparatus is doing everything they can to cover the tracks, I would say to cover the tracks by demanding that there is no further inquiry into what happened on that day. Right, that is not a country that I can get behind.
Let's get to some of the details, because it seems to me you've put up a lot of theories, but a lot of them don't seem to have a clear conclusion from you.
Hell, it ain't over.
Actually think happened. I mean, you've been all over this now ever since Charlie was killed. What do you believe happened to him? Who do you think killed him?
So I can't tell you definitively who pulled the trigger. I'm not going to lie to audiences and just put something out there that's not real. But what I can say is I feel convinced that the feds were involved. I can tell you that. I think the feds were involved in staging a cover-up. I think Kash Patel knows what happened and did not happen on that day. I am
there we go.
Convinced
she put a name on it.
Being told by people that are feds that he is not.
She put a name on it.
The trigger. I'm not going to lie to audiences and just put something out there that's not real. But what I can say is I feel convinced that the feds were involved. I can tell you that. I think the feds were involved in staging a cover-up. I think Kash Patel knows what happened and did not happen on that day. I am convinced by me being told by people that are feds that he is not acting right.
That part right there. People who are feds. See, this right here makes me think that maybe some of her intel has came from Dan Bongino. And and it may have been the dark-skinned brother and not the regular skinned brother. She said somebody from the feds, the dark-skinned Bongino, may have been the one who was sliding her some intel. Y'all get double tap. And she is not going to give you her source. One more emotional. What does that mean, Dorothy? One more emotional. What does that mean? Y'all come on. What is one double tap, please? Because I hate we get so close.
Feds were involved. I can tell you that. I think the feds were involved in staging a cover-up. I think Kash Patel knows what happened and did not happen on that day. I am convinced by me being told by people that are feds that he is not acting right and that he is not wanting to share any information. Just a couple of people are allowed to even see anything. A Fed told me that they can't even touch the Charlie Kirk file without risk of being fired, and that he's grown increasingly mad. The U.S. Marshals that were there when they were doing the quote-unquote manhunt for 33 hours.
So what Fed would be close enough to know that? What Fed would be close enough to know that you can't touch it without being the threat of being fired? So this is where I think the dark skin, again, Bongino may be a leak.
Convinced by me being told by people that are feds that he is not acting right and that he is not wanting to share any information. Just a couple of people are allowed to even see anything. A Fed told me that they can't even touch the Charlie Kirk file without risk of being fired, and that he's grown increasingly mad. The U.S. Marshals that were there when they were doing the quote-unquote manhunt for 33 hours said that Kash Patel effectively sent them on a wild goose chase, which is what was signaled to the public when he said, "We got him," and it was actually the wrong person. And so it caused people to stop looking because they were convinced they had the shooter. They felt that that was in order to allow the real perpetrators of the crimes to get away.
No, but that could just be the fog of the immediacy of these things. We've seen it at Brown University. Exactly the same thing. They thought they had the killer. They thought they had the killer. It turned out to be the wrong person. Right? It doesn't mean there's any great conspiracy by the feds to cover everything
but
up.
he shouldn't do that.
If what you're saying is true, I don't know. Maybe you're right. If what you're saying is true, what is it they're covering up? You've so far intimated or inferred something weird involving Egyptian planes. So, well, what's that about? You've inferred perhaps Israeli involvement in some way. You've certainly inferred a lot of Turning Point USA involvement. That's a lot of people getting involved here in the murder of Charlie Kirk potentially. But what I'm really curious about is, given you've been all over all this and you've been airing all these theories, but which one is it? It can't be all of these
That's
things.
you right, Monty.
Is it someone at Turning Point USA? I mean, who do you actually believe was behind this?
Of course it can be all of those things. And what's really ironic here is that there's a clip of Charlie in the last months leading up to his death where he speaks about the JFK assassination. And he says that multiple countries were involved, multiple people were involved, LBJ was involved, the feds were involved. And he's correct. That is what it means. When there is a conspiracy, there are multiple people that are involved. Of course, there's not one person on a grassy knoll who shot JFK.
Well, it might have been that.
There are people who had to agree to it.
There
had
we
people
don't.
who would have had to. The Dallas police were involved. Hold on, I'm answering your question. I'm answering your question.
But my
You're
point
asking,
is,
why aren't you just going to point to one person? That to me, even that seems like a part of telling people not to believe their own gut. Obviously, for this to have been pulled off, there had to have been multiple people involved. There had to have been people at Turning Point that were complicit in having this happen. Now, who knows what their motivations are? Doesn't mean maybe this person's like, hey, I'm going to help you.
Hang on, okay, let me stop you. Hang on. When you say obviously somebody at Turning Point, you are accusing now, people that worked with Charlie Kirk at the company he built, which is now run by his widow. You are directly accusing
who don't know
people
nothing.
in that company of being complicit.
Who knows nothing?
Introducing
absolutely, she don't even know. She had no idea he had multiple media outlets.
Right.
I want to just be very clear connecting that dot. So I said that when there is a conspiracy, of course there are going to be multiple people involved. So applying that same logic to JFK, right? Knowing, as I do and as Charlie did, believe that LBJ was involved, which then implicates the feds as having been involved, which then implicates the Dallas police station as being involved. I believe Israel was obviously involved, that they were the ones that wanted him dead for saying that what is now AIPAC should have to register under FARA. So there's motive. There are people that have to be involved on the ground that day. There are people that have to be willing to allow the perpetrators to get away. There has to be media that's complicit, and that's what literally Operation Mockingbird was. It was established.
But you know the problem. Candace. Here's the problem.
Well, hang on. It was established. So
but here's the problem with everything you're saying.
In this massive cover-up.
You keep saying, and this is where people think you're prone to endless conspiracy theories for whatever reason.
Okay.
Is you keep using the phrase they have to have been involved. So by that yardstick, what you're saying is
like it up, fam. It don't cost you nothing. Like it up. I like that.
Things, right?
Like it up. We love Poppy J6 said like it up. thumb it up. Like it up. I like that. Like it up. Yes, thumbs up.
I don't know what happened to JFK, but the one possibility you've not ruled in is it was just as simple as Lee Harvey Oswald. It might have been. We don't know.
No.
Right? So when you say
I
when you
can't
say
even entertain
the
that. It's
media
such a
has to
nonsense,
have
I
been
can't even
involved,
entertain that. It's
Lyndon
been too many
Johnson
decades.
has to
No,
have been. But
no.
My problem is
You sound
saying all these
stupid.
things as
You
facts.
sound like you mad that yeah,
You don't know that.
yeah, Piers, you were one of the fools who thought that Erica was gonna come in and shut her and her conspiracies and her theories and her logic and her intel down. You thought it. You thought that y'all was gonna have an aha moment for Candace Owens, and it was a failure. So now you're trying to overly attack, where Charlie Kirk's wife has not even come back off of their meeting with nothing debunking her. So get off your foreign speaking ass with that bullshit. She has spun y'all asses around, okay? All y'all naysayers who don't want to say the Zionist pro-Israel, you are a devil worshiper and you don't want the truth out, okay? And she spun your ass just like she spun Erica and Tim, little Tim, him, Shim, yeah, him, and Shapiro and all the rest of them. She making all y'all look stupid. And I need to hurry up because I want to hear what she had to say about Patel so she can connect them dots on what's really going on. And I want to know if it's a Dan Bongino who had leaked you that information, because it definitely came from the feds. Hello. Him. Shem. Tim. Shem. That's the best way. They can't say nothing to us by calling them shims. Leave it to AunTeaFee. Lord, she will say anything, won't she?
Like, yeah, no, I do know it was not Lee Harvey Oswald acting by himself, and then that required national security to lock down the files, and that required the feds to impart, the CIA to impart Operation Mockingbird to convince the public that it was, you can't go against, there's a grieving widow, don't look further into it, don't believe your own eyes.
But let me just say, this is your, Candace,
it was a grand conspiracy that killed JFK, and I am going to say that confidently, and I just think we have to grow up. We have to grow up. We can't keep pretending Lee Harvey Oswald killed JFK.
Fine.
We can't keep doing that.
That is your opinion. Today's show is sponsored by Oxford.
But we had that opinion before she did. Foolishness. You in a foreign country, man. You ain't here.
Suddenly he reversed course on.
It's an opinion.
No, that's a fact.
No, it's not a fact.
It's a fact.
It's not a fact.
It's a fact.
The whole reason there are still conspiracy theories about JFK's assassination is none of this is a fact. You are floating it as your theory.
Because the feds are never going to admit to their own crimes. That is the reason we're still discussing it.
That may be the case, but you can't prove that.
Yeah, well, I can prove common sense that Lee Harvey Oswald did not stand on a grassy knoll and assassinate a president. And LBJ, like Charlie says in that clip, which people should go pursue.
Yes, I know Charlie
all
said
of the
that.
weird things that
But y'all believed it when Charlie said it.
And LBJ decided not to ride that day. And then suddenly he reversed course on all of JFK's policies, and he was fighting AIPAC. Israel killed JFK.
All right.
Now, going back to your point about Turning Point USA and the ridiculous idea that implicating, this is a $100 million organization.
Yeah.
Common sense. If this was not even a high-profile political assassination and this was just a guy who worked at a company that was $100 million, right? Common sense inquiry is, was there a financial motive for this person to be dead, okay? This is like Sherlock Holmes 101. And this is what I mean when I say that the public no longer trusts the media because you're acting us to be stupid. And we don't want to do that. We actually don't want to pretend
you're right about that.
Clinical idiots who can't assess things and go, oh, there could be a massive motive here to have Charlie dead, especially when it seems very strange that Bibi Netanyahu when nobody even had a clue of what happened. This guy's doing the rounds on Fox News and saying, I didn't kill Charlie Kirk. That's kind of weird. Did you feel compelled to jump on to Piers Morgan's show and say, just so everybody knows, I didn't kill Charlie Kirk? Why would he say that?
So
Why was he so involved as somebody who's fighting a 97,000 front war?
Candace, I want to get to the reality of what you're actually saying. So when you say that somebody at Turning Point USA, Charlie's company, was complicit in his murder, who? Who was?
I believe that there were multiple people
Candace with the
at Turning Point
BTA.
who are, as I have said many times, my exact words are, they are engaged in a cover-up of what happened to Charlie on that day.
No, but who was involved in his murder?
I didn't say that they murdered Charlie.
You said that people at Turning Point were complicit in his murder.
No, my exact sentence that I said was that there were people at Turning Point who are engaged in a cover-up.
No, you didn't.
I believe
Sorry,
that
you didn't.
thoroughly.
Candace, you didn't say that. You said literally.
I did say that on my entire
You said
show.
there were people at Turning Point complicit in his murder.
Okay.
That's what you said.
When you and I were discussing, that's why I said, let's go back. I was applying the logic of a conspiracy to JFK. I said, okay, JFK, you have people that are complicit. Of course, if you apply that logic, if there is a conspiracy, there's going to be multiple people that are going to be complicit by the time, in order for a large stage murder to happen.
You specifically said, you didn't say complicit in a cover-up. You said complicit in the murder. Because I said, who at Turning Point was involved in his murder? And
Let me clarify for you. Okay, you can keep saying what I said, or you can listen to what I am saying.
Okay.
When I was using the analogy of JFK and we were connecting it, I was basically pushing back on you because you were suggesting that, you know, all of these people being involved would be crazy. So I was applying the analogy
I said
of what
I don't
happened
know.
to JFK. Well, you actually, if you go back and listen,
said I don't know.
Suggesting that a conspiracy.
I said you don't know either. You're floating theories.
When we started talking about the JFK
perfectly
thing,
listen, let me make it clear.
Piers, I really think you're not holding on to your thoughts
Candace, let me spell out my thought very clearly.
When we started talking about JFK, the implication that you were making was that it was crazy to suggest that multiple people could have been involved at different levels. I was then connecting the dots and saying that in order for the
yeah, because I don't because Pierce is really mad. You let me tell it. Because Erica Kirk didn't shut her down. So let's get to the day. Let's get to... Hold on. Is this... Today. Okay, let's go here. Let's go today. Please get the likes up. Because Pierce is trying to push a point that hell Erica should have pushed. But she didn't.
Okay, ladies and gentlemen, get ready. I am telling you, get ready. We have an explosive episode today. Actually, I should say it's a non-explosive episode, and you'll see why. We're going to jump right into this because after yesterday's episode, we were contacted by a variety of people with information, and it's time to state unequivocally that the steel neck quotation did not come from the surgeon. Okay, not only that, but it's odd that federal agents were, I would say, too involved at the hospital. When I tell you this story, your jaw is going to hit the floor. We also have never before seen photos of the vehicle, I know I sound like a Fed here, that Charlie was transported in to the hospital.
Oh,
they were trying to save his life. I'm telling you, my perspective is that all of these leads are ramping up. The reason for that is because the general public is actually not receptive to what is very clearly a military-grade psychological operation, complete with influencers and botted activity on social media. We're so let down, it's over. I'm never watching this show ever again. Candace took money. The people can see what you're doing, feds. They can see it. I can see it. And now we're gonna, you know, gotta go max today. Welcome back to Candace.
We gotta go max today. Right here. See, like the wedding pictures, you know, she and then you got her pregnant picture. Where's that for Candace? Where is Erica's? We need to stamp Erica's. Yeah, now. Like we can stamp Candace. Yeah. Let's go. Get the likes up. Double tap.
What I said on my
Double tap, y'all. Come on. Double tap the face of your screen. Get the likes up. Let's go. Yeah, we need to stamp that. Who can co-sign her ass being pregnant 2-3 times? Yeah. Who can stamp that? As far as I'm concerned, they those Romania orphanage babies that they done took a photo op for. Yeah. Acting like they done got busy. Like he was getting booty and done got her pregnant. You know. AunTeaFee. I wasn't supposed to say that. Like he was in them drawers. Yeah, like he was beating the hell out them guts, you know. I wasn't supposed to say that either. I need to see it. Who could co-sign it? Yeah. Let's go, Candace. Let's go, baby girl. Let's go. Beating them guts, Lord. Have mercy.
Instagram stories, if you're not following me over on Instagram, is very true. I actually have never played chess, but I think I'm a good player. I think I'm a good chess player.
The brushes ain't no good.
So I've kept a lot of cards close to my chest, and truly it is because I have...
See, I could have went somewhere else with that Monty. Hell, them groceries ain't no good. Hell, he wasn't down there eating. She wasn't feeding that man. She ain't making no babies. They ain't bumping and grinding. Hell, they say he don't like... Well, he ain't here no more, so I'm going to leave it. Unfettered ass. That's what happens when you be playing with them devils. You done had them old men all up in you all this time, and now you done got conditioned. They were saying that they was rough and tough. They had them fake thumb butts and shit, and all of a glove with 5 little instruments on it and shit. Well, hell, if that middle one is that as big as that is, hell, ain't shit. I mean, that sperm would have to do. What in the hell is going on? Now I'm making sperm fly. How we know her ass done had some kids? Them orphanage babies from Romania. Then they done barred her ass. Hell, because if she been missing from 2012 to 2019 up until she met him, when did her ass get pregnant? How many babies you got? Hell, it's just 2025. Reptilia in the garden. That's it, right there.
Understood throughout this entire process that we need to separate the wheat from the chaff. Like, of course, not every single person is bad at Turning Point USA. We don't have every single person that's bad.
I don't forgot what she said, laughing at her unfertile ass. Let's go.
What I said on my Instagram stories, if you're not following me over on Instagram, is very true. I actually have never played chess, but I think I'm a good player. I think I'm a good chess player in life. So I've kept a lot of cards close to my chest, and truly it is because I have understood throughout this entire process that we need to separate the wheat from the chaff. Like, of course, not every single person is bad at Turning Point USA. We don't have every single person that's bad that works for the FBI, the NSA. There are good guys everywhere, but there are bad people everywhere. So when somebody's telling you everyone's good or everybody's bad, you should not believe that. Well, get ready, guys. Buckle up. Where do we begin? This is what I would say. It's clearly a federal disaster. We might even have to bring in FEMA. That's how much of a disaster this is. How much it is going to be for Kash Patel when we get through with this episode, because federal prints are all over the Charlie Kirk assassination story. Okay, there's no way to deny it at this point. Nothing they are saying.
On them pills, had the little diaphragm thing up in there, with the little string hook thing. All of that. She wasn't trying to get. That's why she was saying, I really did love you. And not a tear fell. She is the most crying, tearless ass person I done ever. Well, hell, have we seen her? She fake too. All of this is just Hollywood. This is a movie. This is a movie. And this shit ain't real.
Makes sense. They've told us lies, misrepresentations, and I think they are the ones who are attacking people who are reasonably concluding that nothing makes sense. Okay, our intuition is telling us that something bigger is at play, and we're going to keep following that intuition
She ain't
and
drinking enough
mocking
water.
us for saying that we
She
had
need to
dreams
detox.
that Charlie was betrayed, or rather mocking me.
Now, for real though, I said she do need to detox. She need to detox all them old ass men that her daddy and them had her playing with. You know, sold her off into the elite and groomed her ass. She need to detox all them out her system. Hell, that's the only way Cassie could have kids after she detoxed Diddy and all them male stripper hookers. You have to detox all that the satanic shit up out you now. Yeah, you have to detox all them kids' blood, all that shit. You better detox the devil. They need a devil detox. And then she'll be able to exhume her husband out the wild. And then everything can come back to life because all this shit is fake. Now, I said it. Did you say exhume it out the wild? Or let him out the Israel jail. Wherever he hiding. Whatever's going on. She need to detox all them old ass men up out of her. And beat the shit out of... Yeah, let me stop.
I actually had dreams, and they email me at them all the time. It's just not going to work. You are going to come apart when I deliver these new facts to you.
Oh, Lord.
So yesterday, I revealed to you that I was told that Andrew Colvett was allegedly flying blind when he tweeted out the conversation that he had with the surgeon. Now, just to jog your memory, how that all came about was me doing the show and saying, oh, I saw the back footage and there was no blood. And then very quickly, which I didn't really understand why he had done this, he tweeted out that long tweet about Superman neck, and he puts this quotation in here, quote, that the surgeon said, quote, absolutely it should have gone through. Sorry, go back to the last one. Absolutely, the bullet should have gone through, which is very normal for a high-powered, high-velocity round. I've seen wounds from this caliber many times, and they always just go through everything. This would have taken a moose or two down, an elk, etc. Next up, that quotation continues. It was an absolute miracle that someone else did not get killed. His bone was so healthy, and the density was so impressive that he's like the Man of Steel. It should have
Whoever
just gone
says
through and
anything
through,
like
likely
that
would have killed those standing behind him too. And that seems strange for a lot of reasons. First off, HIPAA compliance. Why would he speak to Andrew Colvett? Also, did Andrew Colvett record it?
I'm rolling my eyes up, y'all.
Why is it in quotations? Do you remember that verbatim? And I can tell you that it's kind of been a mess since. This is kind of the beginning of everything, right? If we're being honest, that one solitary tweet was the beginning of the, what I would call, federal mask slip. It feels like they have been feeding us slop ever since. Well, I now feel comfortable revealing some more information for you, some that I have held on to, but which
he wasn't allowed in that
the people
cookie.
who gave this to me are now
Only the-
insisting that I reveal. Simply put, and I'm going to say allegedly here only because I did not
No
speak
cookie for him?
directly to Dr. Lee Trotter. But I very much have verified and trust this source. Simply put, it feels like they have been feeding us slop ever since. Well, I now feel comfortable revealing some more information for you, some that I have held on to, but which the people who gave this to me are now insisting that I reveal. Simply put, and I'm going to say allegedly here only because I did not speak directly to Dr. Lee Trotter. But I very much have verified and trust this source. Simply put, never once did Dr. Lee Trotter say that Charlie's neck was stopped. Charlie's neck stopped a 30-06 bullet. It's actually hugely embarrassing for any surgeon to have said something like that. It's hugely embarrassing also because we're being told that, he's violating HIPAA to get this information out there.
Absolutely.
In this very high-stress situation. You're actually accusing him of being not a professional on top of also kind of being an idiot. And you can imagine that that's put a lot of undue stress on the surgeon's family, as many of them have been wrongly implicated in a cover-up. Like, the absurdity of such a narrative, if you're going to put something out there, there's going to be flack that comes upon the surgeon, the other doctors, the nurses. Are you involved? Did you try to get Charlie Kirk killed? Were you involved in this, in staging this? Why would you say that he ate healthy, right? And there's no doctor
Brown
or surgeon
eyes
that would say something
only.
like that. So to restate that, the quotation that Andrew Colbert shared on his X feed is not a direct quotation from the surgeon, like at all. Rather, what I was told is that what the surgeon communicated very clearly to Andrew, and yes, it is absolutely true that the surgeon, Dr. Lee Trotter, hunts, so he does have experience with bullets. What he communicated is that it was likely a frangible bullet that was used. Now, for those of you who don't hunt, maybe don't shoot, and you're not familiar with that term, frangible, like what's a frangible bullet? That refers to a specialized ammunition that is designed to disintegrate into powder upon impact with a hard surface. So it essentially reduces the risk of a ricochet. Instead, the bullet fragments. Makes it safer for close range training. It's not like the traditional bullets that are created to retain mass. Now, key part there is it eliminates the risk of ricocheting. Well, Andrew also told us that the bullet did ricochet. So what we have here is a conflict of statements.
Another mistake.
We are told that Andrew Colbert.
Another mistake by them. Another, either it's a lie to us, but they're gonna say they're gonna say it was a mistake. Please overlook it. Mistake my ass.
Was flying blind, put up this tweet, said that the bullet ricocheted downward into his stomach, whatever. Range training. It's not like the traditional bullets that are created to retain mass. Now, key part there is it eliminates the risk of ricocheting. Well, Andrew also told us that the bullet did ricochet. So what we have here is a conflict of statements. I'm told, we are told that Andrew Colbert was flying blind, put up this tweet, said that the bullet ricocheted downward into his stomach, whatever. And I am telling you that on the other side of this, we have people who are close to the surgeon who say he said no such thing, and rather he said that it was likely a frangible bullet. What are we to make of that discrepancy?
A lie.
Yo no say, Padres. But I'm going to move on because there's something else that is compelling and interesting, something that was unusual that allegedly transpired at the hospital. Now, I want to be clear that not only have I now heard this from somebody that was in the hospital, but another source unrelated to that source told me this a while ago, and I couldn't confirm it. They said a call was placed to a DC at the hospital, and this had something to do with Charlie's body. Now, because this seemed to me to be random, and there was no clear way that I could verify that it took place, I kind of keep a separate box for like follow-up on that. Could be interesting later. Well, now it's interesting. It's interesting. It's a separate person is telling me that there is one thing very unusual that occurred on that day.
Yeah.
Allegedly, Charlie gets transported to, I know I keep saying this wrong, Timpanogos Hospital. He's raced into surgery. That is confirmed. All of that is true. The conspiracies around that can be shut down. He was raced into surgery. He did still have a pulse. And when it was determined that his life could not be saved, and after his next of kin, obviously Erica, was informed, so Erica's not in the hospital, to make that clear, something strange happened. The surgeon wanted to do what he always does, right? He wanted to clean Charlie up before his wife got to the hospital. Except he was blocked.
He was blocked. Who blocked him? Who blocked him, Candace? Y'all double tap the face of the screen. Get the likes up. I've been at this same number of likes, and 300 people done fell up in here. There's 598 people in here right now listening in. Just double tap the face of your phone. It don't cost you nothing. It won't bill you nothing. It's just saying, I'm down. I want to hear what's going on. 718 now. Just double tap the face of the screen on your phone. And let's hear this. Something strange happened when they could not save Charlie Kirk.
Always does, right? He wanted to clean Charlie up before his wife got to the hospital. Except he was blocked by federal officers who were already at the hospital. They stopped him from being allowed to return to the operating room. This allegedly got him pretty fired up. It's never happened before. It's inappropriate. It sounds inappropriate for federal officers to say, I know you just came out of there from trying to save his life, but you're not allowed to go back into the operating room. I'm on orders. No one's allowed to access this body. And this doctor's pretty connected, been around a long time, has a lot of contacts, and is like, this is ridiculous.
So why would the feds stop the doctor for going back? Now, what did the doctor come out for? Has Eric? Hold on. Let's listen to this with the good ear. Had Erica made it to the hospital? Why did the? Okay, let's listen. With our good ear.
Except he was blocked by federal officers who were already at the hospital. They stopped him from being allowed to return to the operating room. This allegedly got him pretty fired up. It's never happened before. It's inappropriate. It sounds inappropriate for federal officers to say, I know you just came out of there from trying to save his life, but you're not allowed to go back into the operating room. I'm on orders. No one's allowed to access this body. And this doctor's pretty connected, been around a long time, has a lot of contacts, and is like, this is ridiculous. I'm going back in there. I want to make him presentable for his wife to get here, yada, yada. I'm paraphrasing here. You can imagine this scene. And so he doesn't take no for an answer, and he places a phone call. I am assuming, now this person did not say it was a phone call to DC, but said it was likely a phone call to someone political and somebody who was very high up, who then ordered the feds to stand down.
It was a big
and to allow him to do what he had always done, which is to make sure that Charlie looks good enough for his wife to see him. Kind of weird. Weird because we are in manhunt hours. We're talking a phone call to someone political and somebody who was very high up, who then ordered the feds to stand down.
Wow.
And to allow him to do what he had always done, which is to make sure that not say it was a phone call to DC, but said it was likely a phone call to someone political and somebody who was very high up, who then ordered the feds to stand down and to allow him to do what he had always done, which is to make sure that Charlie looks good enough for his wife to see him.
It was an inside hit.
Kind of weird. Weird because we are in manhunt hours. Operating room, I'm on orders. No one's allowed to access this body. And this doctor's pretty connected, been around a long time, has a lot of contacts, and is like, this is ridiculous. I'm going back in there. I want to make him presentable for his wife to get here, yada, yada. I'm paraphrasing here. You can imagine this scene. And so he doesn't take no for an answer, and he places a phone call. I am assuming, now this person did not say it was a phone call to DC, but said it was likely a phone call.
I'm rolling my eyes at the devil. I'm rolling my eyes at this bull crap. Let's go before it click off again. Come on.
To someone political and somebody who was very high up, who then ordered the feds to stand down and to allow him to do. Weird. Weird because we are in manhunt hours. We're talking 2.5 hours, maybe up to 3 hours after Charlie got shot. And the feds are not just at the hospital trying to take cameras down from inside the hospital, as we learned they seized the cameras on that day, but they're also blocking the surgeon's access to an operating room. Shouldn't you be outside racing to find who the killer is? Like, what are we doing here? What are we actually doing here? There's a process. Why do you need to guard this body from the surgeon who tried to save his life? That doesn't make any sense. Mm-hmm. But there's more.
Wait, what?
Honestly, racing to find who the killer is? Like, what are we doing here? What are we actually doing here? There's a process. Why do you need to guard this body from the surgeon who tried to save his life? That doesn't make any sense. But there's more, okay? Honestly, I think what I'm going to tell you more is, like I said, should not say explosive. I should say it's not explosive before you can catch your breath on the information I've just given you, I'd also like you to hear the very super interesting story of how which I will now refer to as the non-smoking gun, was actually discovered. I love the details. You know, I love details. I'm a detail-oriented person, and these ones are fun and curious, okay? So the story goes, you remember, the story goes that the police officers found the gun in a wooded area. Now, immediately,
Lord, let's
we have people
go.
telling us, students telling us that even that description is faux. Wooded area, no, that's actually not the right topography surrounding UVU. Well, interestingly enough, the exact place where the gun was found, which is described more like a median between two roads. I think I showed you that footage of where they found that gun, certainly not in the woods. There's some trees and there are some bushes. Well, interestingly enough, before that gun was found, that area had already been searched. Not just by veteran police officers who told me that the way they do this is described more like a median between two roads. I think I showed you that footage of where they found that gun, certainly not in the woods.
Get the lights up,
Some
y'all.
trees and there are some bushes. Well, interestingly enough, before that gun was found, that area had already been searched. Not just by veteran police officers who told me that the way they do this is they sort of lock arms, then they kind of go, you know, you've kind of seen this in some shows maybe, that's what they did. They came up, they didn't have anything. Then they said, okay, we're only human, let's release the bomb dogs.
Another
In that
mistake.
exact area where ultimately the gun is going to later be discovered. The bomb dogs didn't turn up with anything, and here is why that fact alone is remarkably suspicious according to the police officers that were involved. And I'm fascinated by this now. I love fun facts about animals. Obviously, we all know that dogs have incredible scent, right? Their sense of smell is like what literally up to 100,000 times more than a human scent. Now, in case you didn't know, and I did not know this, over $19 billion has been spent on research and development of technology that can detect explosives, okay? Over $19 billion. And yet, no man-created technology comes close to conquering the scent of a dog. Essentially, what I'm saying to you is that dogs are the highest grade available technology that we have when it comes to detecting explosives. And bomb dogs are specifically trained to detect explosive like gunpowders. That's why they have these animals at police departments. Even an untrained dog, like even just your dog, you know, and like you're walking your dog and he's got like a scent and you're like, what's going on? Nobody smells. They can pick up a scent of a fired weapon days after it was triggered. Their nose will still pick up that scent. A bomb dog, they can smell it up to a week, right? Maybe even more because they're specifically training, and during this training process, I'm reading they'll cover something in chemicals, they'll train them, so like after it rains, obviously they're just training their scent to get stronger and stronger and stronger. After a week, after an explosive goes off or a weapon is fired, they will tell you, here it is, they'll be able to find that weapon. I'm telling you this so that you can comprehend that if you're sending out bomb dogs to find a weapon that was just recently fired like an hour ago, that's not even fun for them. That's not even interesting. That's ridiculous. You're basically saying to that dog, 1 + 1 = what? It's too easy. This is what they did. They sent these bomb dogs out. And they go over to the area and they find nothing. The highest grade technology that we have finds nothing. These dogs belong to the Sheriff's Department in Pleasant Grove, by the way. You should know that. So seasoned officers plus the dogs crawled the area and came up dry. Until, fast forward, so many miracles in this story, fast forward to when the feds arrive after the dogs fail to the corner with you dogs, and the feds are here, the federal officers are going around and ask.
Y'all, please double tap. You know, people are steady coming in. 591 people now. And my likes didn't go up. Please double tap. Hit the like button. Double tap the face on your phone, your listening device. Just 2 clicks. Bam, bam. Just like that. It won't cost you a thing. Tap, tap, tap. Tap, tap, tap. Tap, tap. Tap, tap, tap. Tap, tap. Tap, tap, tap. Tap it like you're tapping that ass. Tap, tap. Tap, tap, tap. Tap that ass. Tap, tap. Tap, tap, tap. Tap, tap, tap. Tap, tap, tap. That kind of hurt. Let's go.
Officers weird questions like, oh, how long have you been on the police force? And what happens then is that federal officers direct 3 police officers who I'm told between the 3 of these officers, they had less than a year and a half on the force, okay? Like these officers are pretty spanking brand new, just like everything else in the story. And the federal officers specifically direct them, check again, over yonder. Check again, yonder, right over there. Because I just don't trust that super high-grade technology of a dog's nose that we have.
Oh, wow.
And you, sir, you 3, go and see if there could be something over there.
So they let them.
We can't trust those 100,000 times stronger noses. Federal officers direct 3 police officers who I'm told between the 3 of these officers, they had less than a year and a half on the force, okay? Like these officers are pretty spanking brand new, just like everything else in the story.
They go to word spanking.
Federal officers specifically direct them,
the phone.
check again, over yonder. Check again, yonder.
After
right
they don't
over
place
there.
the guns
Because
over
I just
there.
don't trust that super high-grade technology of a dog's nose that we have. And you, sir, you 3, go and see if there could be something over there. We can't trust those 100,000 times stronger noses. You're human. Take it on. Take on the task. And guys, you're not going to believe me.
Wow.
The
Voila.
nose that's trained to pick up gunpowder, explosive, combustible material, they get an F. But lo and behold, these police officers, bam, there it is, the gun. We've got the weapon.
Pow Pow's
Woo!
gun. Pow Pow's
No shooting
gun.
here. We nailed it.
That-
we might as well get rid of these dogs, right?
That has been
Completely
dismantled.
useless to have these dogs around. I have the names of the officers who were involved in that
Pow
discovery.
Pow. They
I
found
do
Pow
not
Pow
intend
gun.
on releasing those names at this moment in time because I'd like to try to reach out to them in earnest, and also because I also need to research them because I'm like this and I need to know who their great-grandparents are. I need to know everything about these officers. That's not the only dog in the story. Then there's Freya. Freya is a canine dog, and I am told that, and please correct me. Okay, actually please don't send me a million emails if this little factoid I get wrong, but my understanding is that the canines are different from the bomb dogs, and the canines are trained for like drugs and
Hot dog.
Like smell a person. Okay, whatever. Whatever. Freya in this story is a canine, okay? And she is specifically the canine that sniffed out the route to the rooftop where Tyler Robinson, the Losey Center rooftop, where he allegedly took the shot. Now, in case when I tell you that, you're reasonably concluding that this means that they took the gun that the officers found, they gave it to Freya, and Freya smelled the weapon and then said, "Here we go," and led them back to the rooftop. I want you to know that you'd be wrong, because everything in the story has to be exceptional. Everything in this story has to be
This is the Kash
and
Patel
special and unique.
production.
Actually, they didn't give Freya any object, but rather conducted something that was described to me as a condensed scent trace. So it's different. Freya, I'm told by police officers, essentially traced the scent from the bottom of the building where we saw a person jump off, right, and back to the top of the building. So
I'm still rolling my eyes. Let's go.
has to be different and special and unique. Actually, they didn't give Freya any object, but rather conducted something that was described to me as a condensed scent trace. So it's different. Freya, I'm told by police officers, essentially traced the scent from the bottom of the building where we saw a person jump off, right, and back to the top of the building. So Freya was able to conclude it's effectively like a target odor trace that the
did the
person who
dog
jumped
run up
here
the side of
came from up
the
here.
building?
I want to be clear, I am hearing this from multiple officers who were involved with the hunt, who have reached out since the very beginning and said everything was weird, everything was wrong. We feel like we were effectively being sent on like wild goose hunts. like a wild goose hunt by the feds, and the feds were sort of directing the show. That's a lot of information I just gave you. We're not even warmed up.
Oh, wow.
Because there is one more thing that I would like to share with you before we take a brief break. Now, this is something that I cannot confirm with, I guess, the usual certainty that I have, but it feels important for me to state it because I hope that because 1 and 2 officers have been courageous, and I'm hearing the rumors, but I want to confirm, I'm hoping that somebody will stand up, maybe the very officer that was involved in this will stand up and contact me. But I had received a tip a while ago from a few police officers, a tip that I would like to confirm, but I think it should be put out into the open. After we broke the story of the rentals, of the Toyota rentals, I gave you guys the exact description. I also gave you the plates, but that could also be not relevant because if we're dealing with feds, they change the plates, obviously. Anyways, there were some good guys in the police department who had recalled, and I did confirm that I'm speaking with people at the police at the police department at the very least, who recalled something odd that happened on that day involving a white Toyota RAV4. The story goes,
Oh, yeah.
obviously everybody's eyes are peeled.
Yeah, the RAV4. Get the likes up. This is finna get good. Double tap. The RAV4. Oh, wow. Get the likes up for the RAV4. Let's go. Unbelievable. And they really thought that Erica Kirk was going to stop this woman from putting out the facts about her friend's murder. Hey, hot chocolate. Tamal DeVille. What do you mean send out the clones? I don't know what you mean. Double tap. Come on, y'all.
Or anything unusual, looking for the suspect on this manhunt, and there's an officer who catches a speeding car shortly after the shot is fired, and this officer is convinced that this is the killer. Like this, I'm going to be in hot pursuit of this killer. The officer pulls over the Toyota RAV4, and when the officer gets to the window,
now who you calling silly? Tamal DeVille, you need to leave. Who you talking to? Y'all get the likes up. They said Kash is what, Jay Jones?
the driver of the RAV4 flashed the car shortly after the shot is fired, and this officer is convinced that this is the killer. Like this, I'm going to be in hot pursuit of this killer. The officer pulls over the Toyota RAV4, and when the officer gets to the window, the driver of the RAV4 flashes an FBI badge.
Wow.
I am telling you, I'm going to be in hot pursuit of this killer. The officer pulls over the Toyota RAV4, and when the officer gets to the window, the driver of the RAV4 flashes an FBI badge.
Yep.
I am telling you the exact truth of it, what was communicated to me, and I would like to confirm the story because it's pretty explosive. If that is true, if Toyota RAV4 was pulled over, how do we get that? Do we have to FOIA? I don't know. And that's why I'm putting it out there, because there may be a way to even get around. I'm assuming that officer would have had to have a camera on him. Did a federal officer get pulled over driving a Toyota RAV4? Again, this would have been shortly after the shot went off, so we're probably looking within an hour. Maybe let's widen it and say within 2 hours, a Toyota RAV4, a white Toyota RAV4 was pulled over, and a federal badge was flashed. letting that officer know that he or she was outranked. So there's that. And we still have more, so somehow this is just, look, it's the last week before break. We got to get it all out there. And the way that they are behaving, the craziness of how I'm being attacked is letting me know that we are dead close to something. And we're going to keep pushing. We're going to take a brief break here to throw to some of our sponsors. All right, you guys, when they double down upfront fees to find out if you can speak freely with as much, move to Rumble silent, I would say effectively silent FBI as assistant director of the FBI. Like Trump has just confirmed, is going to leave the FBI.
Oh, hold up.
Logical wars that they impart upon the people, and I have never seen one more extreme than Kirk cover-up. Never seen one more extreme than we are in a fight for our minds. These are psychological wars that they impart upon the people, and I have never seen one more extreme than this Charlie Kirk cover-up that the feds are engaged in. Speaking of which, I've heard the rumors, obviously, that Dan Bongino, which it looks like Trump has just confirmed, is going to leave the FBI as assistant director of the FBI. He will be stepping down. Trump said that he thinks that Dan...
They wouldn't let us hear what he said. Okay, see, that's the problem. Because it's so covered and hands-on, they wouldn't let us hear it. They wouldn't let the media cover that. So... what if he is? We're not going to hear it. Just like, why hasn't his parents came out and spoke and said, no, I did not do that. I did not lead him. Why has no one in his family, friends, neighbors, I mean, really just came out vocally? They said, his family said, but when she spoke to them some time ago, they said that that wasn't true. Now, Candace ain't done nothing but expose them. Candace ain't done nothing. What they thought Erica was going to do was going to stop the progress of the investigation of Candace Owens and crew. But that didn't happen. Yeah, like she said, she never showed her hand. She never showed her whole hand. She never gave out everything that she had and all the intel that she has received. Yeah, but why has Tyler Robinson family? Where's his boyfriend, girlfriend, him, Shim, Tim? Where he at? He was talking, before with that AI conversation. Where is Tyler Robinson family that work for Secret Service and, military and all that type of shit? Where they at now? Because the feds don't want you to. Hell, if the feds didn't want the doctor to go clean up the body for Erica, they're not going to let that out. All of this shit is staged. When has it ever been so hush-hush? They can't say nothing. And hell, had we not demanded a wellness check, we probably wouldn't have seen his ass in court. Let's just keep it real.
How far-reaching this corruption goes. I have been wondering why Dan has been silent.
He has been
silent. People do not
silent.
realize this, but Rumble actually hosts some of the largest episodes. You'll get notified every single time that I go live as well. You care about or seen one more extreme than logical wars that they impart upon the people. Logical wars that they impart upon the people. Your voice matters, and the platforms that you choose matter. We are in a fight for our minds. These are psychological wars that they impart upon the people, and I have never seen one more extreme than this Charlie Kirk cover-up that the feds are engaged in.
I don't know.
Speaking of which,
I
I've
don't
heard
know
the rumors,
if he's
obviously, that Dan Bongino, which it
whatever
looks
that
like Trump has
is.
just confirmed, is going to
I think
leave
all
the
of this shit is staged.
as assistant director of the FBI.
Because
he will be stepping down.
denied
Trump said that he
pro-Israel.
thinks that Dan wants to get back to his show. I think Dan is probably
I think the military is involved.
Far-reaching this corruption goes.
They took Charlie Kirk out if he
why
really
Dan
is gone.
has been silent, I would say effectively silent, on the Charlie Kirk situation. He has not been a part of the people that have been feeding us trash, and maybe his silence is actually some dignity. Like saying, I'm not going to take part in this. And he's doing maybe what Marjorie Taylor Greene did and said, this is hopelessly
That's
broken.
exactly what
and I
he's
feel like I'm
doing.
betraying the American people, and he's going to leave. And maybe he feels like he can fight better from behind the mic. And I certainly am feeling like we are doing a lot here just by investigating this truly. And when I say we, I genuinely mean you guys back at home, because I feel like we're all kind of waking up to just how much the military controls, how botted comment sections can be. I click on this person and they just created an account. That's a war on your mind, okay? That's a war on your mind. So sticking with this theme of federal corruption that transpired on that day, a major question, and I need to do more research on this, that in terms of like who was driving and what everybody said on the day, but what happened to the car that Charlie was driven into the hospital while he was still alive? Or better yet, what do you think should have happened to that car, or what is required to
It
happen
goes back
to
to
a car
Erica.
after
There was no
someone
accident in the
is
car.
assassinated in a car, or like is bleeding in a car and there's evidence? I would have assumed that.
Now, was that the Charlie Kirk's car? Or that's why it don't make sense that the ambulance wasn't there. Whose car was it? Was it the security? Security! Was that one of the black cars of security? Surely it's not Charlie Kirk's vehicle. Surely not. They ran to his car. Oh,
Would
wow.
have assumed that the feds impounded the vehicle. Do we agree? That seems like every show that you watch. I used to watch 48 Hours. You got to impound, have happened to that car, or what is required to happen to a car after someone is assassinated in a car, or like is bleeding in a car and there's evidence. I would have assumed that the feds impounded the vehicle.
No.
Do we agree?
No.
That seems like every show that you watch. I used to watch 48 Hours.
No. He was not killed in the car. No. They would not impound that vehicle. If it would have been the vehicle that he was shot in, yes. But just because the vehicle that was taken to the hospital, no. They're not going to impound that car. Erica should have her car. If that was Erica's car. Why would they impound it? It was just a car that they transported him to the hospital in. No. That car is free to go.
You got to impound the vehicle.
No.
So that you can then collect more evidence. Well, the only indication
evidence of what?
Of what we have learned from people that were actually in that vehicle on that day came from Frank Turek. And he does discuss with Megyn Kelly him getting his bag at the hospital after the FBI cleared the vehicle. I don't want to put words into his mouth. Let's take a listen to what Frank Turek had to say.
Yeah, why would...
They roped off the vehicle that we took out.
There's no need for them to impound that car if all they did was take him to the hospital in that car. If there was no crime committed in the car, why would they impound it? Somebody drove the vehicle there. Why would they impound it? No. The question is, why did they paint over everything at the university where Charlie got assassinated? Yeah, that's what should have been yellowed off and triple searched. Nothing touched. You can't touch nothing. This is a crime scene. The vehicle is not a crime scene. You off on this one, Candace.
There as a crime scene. I don't know why.
Why was it a crime scene?
So we couldn't get into the vehicle until the FBI cleared it.
You got to impound the vehicle so that you can then collect more evidence. Well, the only indication of what we have learned from people that were actually in that vehicle on that day came from Frank Turek.
They're leaving out something.
Discuss with Megyn Kelly him getting his bag at the hospital after the FBI cleared the vehicle. I don't want to put words into his mouth. Let's take a listen to what Frank Turek had to say.
They roped off the vehicle that we took out of there as a crime scene. I don't know why. It wasn't part of the crime scene, really.
It wasn't.
So we couldn't get into the vehicle until the FBI cleared it. And it happened that Charlie, in the back seat below him, between these two bucket seats, was my computer bag. So everything, I couldn't go anywhere. You know, my wallet was in there. I wasn't going anywhere anyway, but
they always do what, Connie?
And so when they finally cleared it, I got into the car and I pulled out my bag, and draped over my bag was Charlie's necklace that had a cross and medallions on it. And I had heard they were looking for that. And so the cop was like, "Oh, we've been looking for that." I said, "I got it." So.
They were looking for the necklace. See, I would have assumed the necklace would have fell off at the crime scene.
And I pulled out my bag, and draped over my bag was Charlie's necklace that had a cross and medallions on it. And I had heard they were looking for that. And so cop was like, "Oh, we've been looking for that." I said, "I got it." So I just took it.
Okay, so he's explaining that they did say this is a crime scene. Obviously, there could be evidence in here that we need. That makes sense to me. And
It don't make sense
grab his
to me.
bag and Charlie's necklace, and
It does not make sense to me that that's a crime
the
scene.
vehicle for further inspection. But that if I had assumed that, I would be wrong. Actually, what happened is immediately after the car was transported to towing, it was towed to a towing facility that's just kind of really around the corner from the hospital, and then from there, on Monday, they had another tow truck come and take that car so that it could get a cleaning and be immediately put up for auction. Now, this is unusual on two ends of this. I'll tell you what those two ends are. The first end is that this was a rental vehicle, right? And even if a crime happens in a rental vehicle, especially a brand new one that is that big, you as the owner of a rental
Why are they
car
saying
facility,
a crime
you have an
happened
option to get that
in the car?
back. You have an option, obviously, to get that car back, to get it cleaned. If you're going to get the whole thing recarpeted, that would be a tremendous loss against the company for you to just.
Why are they saying there was a crime committed in the car? Why are they saying that there was a crime committed in the car? What happened inside the vehicle that made it a crime? Because we're under the impression that the crime happened up under the tent, from the roof to the tent. So why is the car a crime scene and not
get a cleaning
the
and be
tent?
immediately put up for auction? Now, this is unusual on two ends of this. I'll tell you what those two ends are. The first end is that this was a rental vehicle, right? Vehicle for further inspection, but that if I had assumed that, I would be wrong, actually. What happened is immediately after the car was transported to it was towed to a towing facility that's just kind of really around the corner from the hospital, and then from there, on Monday, they had another tow truck come and take that car so that it could get a cleaning and be immediately put up for auction. Now, this is unusual on two ends of this. I'll tell you what those two ends are. The first end is that this was a rental vehicle, right? And even if a crime happens in a rental vehicle, especially a brand new one that is that big, you as the owner of a rental car facility, you have an option to get that car back. You have an option, obviously, to get that car back, to get it cleaned. If you're going to get the whole thing recarpeted, that would be a tremendous loss
I
against
don't
the
know.
company for you to just,
But
never mind, whatever, sell it. Well, apparently, and I'm
I
saying
don't,
this
and
allegedly, the owner of the
I'm
company
not
was in California.
sure why Candace is going with a crime was committed in the car when we all know it happened under the tent. I don't know how to process that.
At the time, he gets a phone call and he's just like, no, never want to see this vehicle ever again at our facility. I don't want there to be any PTSD for the people that work here at the rental facility. Just like get rid of it. You could sell it and that's it. It's never coming back here. Maybe that is just kind of the good-natured response. I would assume they weren't gonna, haul it in with all of Charlie's blood in it. But the speed at which this vehicle was just given up effectively for auction is unusual, especially because they didn't even require insurance to come, which would make sense. We know how this works. You can't collect, even if you're going to say, hey, whatever, I want to get rid of this vehicle. You're going to want to make sure that you have tons of pictures and evidence, and you got to send the insurance guys. The insurance guys have to talk about how much damage has been done to this vehicle. I don't know who has to pay for it to be fixed before it can be sold, but you're going to have to send insurance. None of that happened, okay? Just like, poof, that's it. The feds saw it. Everything's going down at the hospital. The feds are really at this hospital.
They got
and then it's over.
insurance. They got the
I find that to be very
insurance at the
strange.
beginning of the rental.
I have 6 photos of the inside of that vehicle.
Oh,
we are
no, well, let's
on
go.
the fence about, and I don't know what you guys think in terms of YouTube and showing this, or are we going to have to put this up on the website when we drop all of the Egyptian plane logs? What do we think, guys? I'm letting you, Mark, make a decision here
If
about
it's
whether
too
or not.
bloody, don't show
And
it.
if we do show this, is obviously like very viewer discretion advice. People have watched crime scenes on the news. Should we? What do you think? You think we'll show one of them that's not so gory? Yeah, okay, yeah, I think the back row is probably the best. Like, this is just so you guys know that we're not making up that we have these photos. We have these photos, and they tell a story, and I think it's important to share these photos with people, which I'm going to do. Investigators, when I say investigators, I mean, like, mommy sleuths and investigators on the ground who have been looking into the story and not accepting the Fed slop. I think it's a good thing.
That's the blood from Charlie Kirk.
It's interesting.
No.
It's very interesting, and it tells, I think, and just more pieces can come together. I think we need to know where everybody was sitting in this car, what everybody said. I know that there have been people that have been doing that work, and I intend to partner with them to just make sure that everything makes sense, okay? Now, pivoting, because what I'm really getting at, and what I have been clear about from the very beginning, I just think the feds are implicated. I do. I just feel the feds are implicated. Everything
I'm
they are
rolling my
doing,
eyes to
everything
that
we are
blood,
learning,
y'all.
everything that I know tells me that they went there to cover everything up. To cover everything up, including sending U.S. Marshals on a wild goose chase. Everybody who's there that day says the feds were not acting right. They don't actually feel like they wanted to solve the crime, but rather to create hurdles, including Kash saying, we got him, and then it wasn't the person, never mind, we made a mistake, was to stop people from actually discovering who killed Charlie Kirk in those critical hours following the shot. They were attempting to disrupt, actually, and I believe that. So, like I said to you guys yesterday, and don't worry, every following 2 days we're just going to have bombs for you guys, but I really sense there has been this ratcheting up of what I have been telling you all year. There are military bots. These are military grade bots that are
That
online.
blood look
I
brown to
saw
me
them
too.
after October 7th. I saw these military grade bots when they wanted to be canceled from Australia. I just recognize the pattern of what they do. They kind of all say the same thing, and it just is meant to get into your psyche. But we recognized this increase in this botted activity after we started speaking about Fort Huachuca. Talked about Fort Huachuca. We talked about, this guy. They tell a story, and I think it's important to.
Baby, when they say the blood, this is not blood. Hold on. What time is it? The handprints. Where was the necklace? I mean, no. This ain't it. Hey, Big Precious. Oh, you say he been missing. Y'all, this is supposed to be the blood of Charlie Kirk. Now, I know what supposedly has shot out his neck was way more red than this. But what is this? This is where he was at. There should be blood all on the floor, on the ground, all of that. Ain't none on the seats or nothing. This is the blood. The blood. The blood. The blood. Brown mess. Yep. Hell, it don't even look like period. It don't look that. Girl. Oh, I was finna say, that last few days where it start turning brown, it don't even look like that. That ain't even a sanitary napkin full. You know what I'm saying? They playing in our face.
Relevant that he believes he stumbled upon this, all hands on deck final meeting. Who killed Charlie Kirk in those critical hours to cover everything up? Everything makes sense, okay? Now pivoting, because what I'm really getting at and what I have been clear about from the very beginning, I just think the feds are implicated. I do. I just feel the feds are implicated. Everything they are doing, everything that we are learning, everything that I know tells me that they went there to cover everything up. To cover everything up, including sending U.S. Marshals on a wild goose chase. Everybody who's there that day says the feds were not acting right. They don't actually feel like they wanted to solve the crime, but rather to create hurdles, including Kash saying, we got him, and then it wasn't the person, never mind, we made a mistake, was to stop people from actually discovering who killed Charlie Kirk in those critical hours.
Definitely smell like I agree.
Like they were attempting to disrupt, actually, and I believe that. So, like I said to you guys yesterday, and don't worry, every following 2 days we're just gonna have bombs for you guys. But I really sense there has been this ratcheting up of what I have been telling you all year. There are military bots. These are military grade bots that are online. I saw them after October 7th. I saw these military grade bots when they wanted to be canceled from Australia. I just recognize the pattern of what they do. They kind of all say the same thing, and it just is meant to get into your psyche. But we recognized this increase in this botted activity after we started speaking about Fort Huachuca. Talked about Fort Huachuca. We talked about, this guy. He's convinced that he saw Brian Harpole, and we started talking about the Egyptian planes. All of this is on the same day. We're getting a picture, and that felt really relevant, that he believes he stumbled upon this, all hands on deck final meeting the day before. And initially people thought, man, I think maybe somebody's pulling Candace. And then we were able to verify his story. People that are currently stationed there. Well, I want to now, and this is a longer clip, but I think it's important because we went through trying to point to you guys the fact that there is this weird plane activity going to that base. I want to now play this longer clip of Baron Coleman He did just a really great video going through and helping people to understand what it means when you see that SAM call sign on a plane that is flying, particularly from Andrews outside of DC. And I'm going to play this longer clip of Baron Coleman and hope he doesn't hit me for stealing his content. Take a listen.
Well, tonight I can confirm that following Candace's show last night, I started some research. And what I found floored me. I don't know who contacted Candace or whether he's credible, but I do know this. If that man or anyone else is running an op on Candace and trying to trap her into a story that doesn't add up, ultimately to destroy her reputation, they planted a key piece of evidence into the story that lends a lot of credibility to what he said. That key piece of evidence is a jet that's used exclusively by very few people. And those people are presidential family members,
Kash
cabinet
Patel,
officials, and military generals at the Pentagon, such as the Joint Chiefs of Staff. And that jet was present at the location of the supposedly high-level meeting the day before Charlie was killed. I was watching Candace Owens this afternoon, so I know she covered the presence of the jet. I'm going to go further with that story, but I'll recap for those who aren't aware of the story, and I'll add considerable detail that she did not report. The flight was a special air mission flight. The United States Air Force Special Air Mission exists to provide safe and secure transport to our country's highest-ranking individuals. Think president, vice president, presidential and vice.
Taxes is feeling unwelcome.
Get the lights up, y'all.
Now taxes is an open
I'm
door.
getting
to
sleepy.
TurboTax stores. Meet our experts. They do your taxes, so you can walk out with confidence. Now this is taxes.
This is one of my favorite little gifts to give. I love how it looks so elegant and tasteful.
Presidential family members, cabinet members, occasionally congressional delegations.
Of course, there's something
That
bigger going
particular
on.
jet was present
It's
at the
not
location
Tyler
of the select
Robinson.
meeting on the morning of September 9th, one day before the neutralization of Charlie Kirk.
It is the CIA in the
And that jet
trafficking.
had recently flown, for example, President Trump's family back from their summer home in Bedminster, New Jersey. I'll show you that in a
Yeah, I
minute.
forgot about that.
That flight was after the Independence Day holiday, so this is an important jet. I'm going to give you a quick breakdown of what are known SAM call signs, SAM, Special Air Mission call signs, because it's going to be important as we work our way through the flight logs of this jet. A Special Air Mission call sign is a designation for airlift missions carrying the President, Vice President, First Lady, Cabinet Secretaries, or other VIPs designated by the White House. When the President is on board, the radio call sign instantly
I
becomes
don't know what a
Air Force One.
patsy is.
But the telephonic ATC
I don't know what
call
that
sign
is. You keep making that
on the flight
comment, and I
plans
don't
and
know
on
what it
radar
is.
scopes is filed as
So stop putting
SAM
that until you tell me
number,
what
number,
patsy
number.
is.
We'll talk about that in a second. When the Vice President is on board, the aircraft becomes Air Force 2, but again, the filed call sign is normally SAM number, number, number.
Because he went,
The same
Mocha,
SAM call sign series is
we've been on that because he went against pro-Israel. He went against, oh, well, yes, this say take a fall. We don't know what no patsy is. He went against pro-Israel. He turned against Bibi Netanyahu.
for other cabinet members, like Secretary of State, Secretary of Defense, and the First Lady when they travel on jets. And sometimes you'll see a rare call sign, very rare call sign. It's SAM000.
Okay, he
Sometimes
told
you'll
me
see a
now. I ain't never
001
heard
or
of that.
002. But when you see zeros leading the call sign, particularly 000, that call sign is highly sensitive. It's when the White House or the U.S. Air Force want to be deliberately vague about the
Here
exact
go the White House, here go
manifest.
FBI.
On August 25th, 2025, this is 15, 16 days before Charlie Kirk was killed, there was a flight on this jet from D.C. to Colorado Springs with that important and rarely
This
used
would
call
make
sign,
sense as to
SAM000.
why
Whoever flew under this
Dan
incredibly highly
Bongino
sensitive call sign, SAM000,
been
on August
MIA for a
25,
while.
flew from Joint Base Andrews to Colorado Springs, home of the 10th Special Forces.
Absolutely.
It stayed in Colorado Springs for 3 hours, and then it flew to Las Vegas, arriving there at 4:48 p.m. local time. Las Vegas, you'll recall, is the home of FBI Director Kash Patel.
Okay, so
He's just delivering the facts. There's nothing here. There's no innuendo there. Later on, he's trying to just think while it's still legal, I guess. And he's like, well, we don't know where J.D. Vance was on this day. I can confirm I was able to dig through a lot and find J.D. Vance was in D.C. This is not Trump. This is not J.D. Vance. So that allows us to come inward and try to figure out who this Sam, very big Sam, on the special air mission was. Okay, he mentions there Kash Patel. Obviously, we don't have at our fingertips Kash Patel's schedule, but it is intriguing that this flight, as he says, goes into Las Vegas, and we're going to now show you that flight path, bring that up, and I'm going to also tell you why that August 25th date is particularly interesting when I pack it into my neat little timeline. Now, because we are looking at data and time zones, I'm going to bring in Mark explain that August 25th trip and how the call signs change, which is even more fascinating.
Thank you for using the preferred term for this, Mark explaining. So on August 25th, let me make this full screen so everyone can see it better. So on August 25th, it flies into Las Vegas, lands at 4:48 p.m. local time as Sam 000. Then on the following day, the 26th, it leaves Las Vegas as a Reach flight 658, leaving at 3:14 p.m. You see the dash at the end there that shows that the transponder data was missing before it lands in Colorado Springs, which you can see on the map here. We scroll back down, and you can see that it lands there at an unknown time because of that data discrepancy. Then it takes off as a SAM 658 flight back to Joint Base Andrews in DC.
Okay, and so when you see that, when you see the call sign changing from an RCH to a SAM, is it fair for me to say that this means that this was somebody who was important, and then there was somebody who was extremely important who either got on or got off, Sam being that super VIP, which Baron Coleman just explained? Is that a fair description?
I'd say so. The special air mission designation is usually when there's very high-ranking or very important people on board. Reach is kind of like there's nobodies on board. I don't want to say nobodies, but someone who doesn't rise to that level. And then the other call sign we've seen is Venus, which is a designator for an empty flight, except for the pilots.
Okay, so going back to that, look, just so you guys can see that, looking at that August 25th date, so we're seeing that the individual flies in to Colorado Springs. Now, why is this date interesting? Well, we're going to pop into the timeline, and I'm going to remind you, first and foremost, that Brian Harpole, when he sits down with Sean Ryan, tells us that they began preparations for the UVU event, and I'm bringing up Brian Harpole, of course, because our eyewitness told us that he saw Brian Harpole. He's convinced he saw Brian Harpole walking out of this big wig meeting on the 9th. Now, I can't confirm what he saw, but I can look into things that Brian Harpole has said to the public since things have transpired, and he particularly points out this date of August 24th of having been when they prepared for UVU. Take a listen to Brian Harpole in his own words on Sean Ryan.
Big pressure.
Did you experience inappropriate behavior from a bishop, church leader, or member at any LDS church when you were younger?
How many days prior were you guys there? We generally, the permitting process and all that goes on behind the scenes. And then there's a questionnaires that are filled out that we used to, there was a lot of busy work. And then so, you know, kind of like in the military, what you did, we create forms that, hey, let's get this information up front. And so that we have a duplication process so that we can confirm it. And so we started our first, before that one, the 24th of the month prior. And so, and that was with the hard conversations, meetings. You started that on the 24th? Right. And we That's do 2 weeks. At early. least. No, it started before that with the intelligence gathering and all that. But the hard conversations, the sharing of information, the conference calls, the data sheets, and we put that in a timeline on an app, so that this all goes up, and every guy that's on that job can see all the intel that comes in. It's a decentralized command model for the company, and so anybody can make command decisions for the betterment of the client or the team, and so everything goes on that app. And so when I get it, they get it. And when whoever's gathering that intel, it gets it. There's no hold, there's no power hold on it. And so That first information came in on the 24th, and then the information share starts.
Now, to be extra clear, I am not suggesting that Brian Harpole, obviously he's not going to be Sam, or is he going to be RCH, but I'm just noting that he is saying that the 24th is when they began this process of intel gathering for the UVU event. It also happens to be the exact date that Operation Valhalla Strike begins between civilians and the military. It happened on August 24th and ended on August 27th.
Valhalla.
I'm going to show you this now on the timelines that you can see that. So then we have the very next day on the 25th, we have this
operation.
And we put that in a timeline on an app so that this all goes up and every guy that's on that job can see all the intel that comes in. It's a decentralized command model for the company. And so anybody can make command decisions for the betterment of the client or the team. And so everything goes on that app. And so when I get it, they get it. And when whoever's gathering that intel, it gets it. There's no hold, there's no power hold on it. And so that first information came in on the 24th, and then the information share starts.
Now, to be extra clear, I am not suggesting that Brian Harpole, obviously he's not going to be Sam, or is he going to be RCH, but I'm just noting that he is saying that the 24th is when they began this process of intel gathering for the UVU event. It also happens to be the exact date that Operation Valhalla Strike begins between civilians and the military. It happened on August 24th and ended on August 27th. I'm going to show you this now on the timelines that you can see that. So then we have the very next day on the 25th, we have this very important character who decides to fly over to Colorado Springs, and then that important character flies into Las Vegas. Presumably he departs off of the plane, he or she, I'm going to go with he here, I don't know why, I feel like that's right. Is going to get off of the plane in Las Vegas, and suddenly that flight is going to be an RCH flight. Okay, so someone less important than our initial Sam. I find that to be very interesting, and I find it to be compelling. And when I said this to Harry and said, is it possible that this could have been like a high-ranking Fed? He said, yeah, it was pretty clear that they were trying to block him, hence them freaking out, from seeing who was coming out of that meeting. That was the hustle. That's what they were fearful of. He said that there was an undercover Fed, or he said it could have been an undercover Secret Serviceman. He was, like I said, had this many 06s, lieutenant colonels, signifies to be that this is like a Pentagon level meeting. Everything he has said is checked out. I am telling you, we have multiple emails from people that are currently stationed there, and they have made it clear to me that, Candace, I know you don't know anything about the military, but you should know, particularly regarding Fort Huachuca. It is an intelligence base. It's not where you're going to scramble jets off of after a terrorist attack. This is where they train people that are in the intelligence community for covert missions. That is why this is significant. They confirmed that building that he said, this guy really does just have the best or work luck ever, and just gets out of his 25-year-long NDA and stumbles into another, what could be, we're keeping this open, another federal operation. And so I think it's important, and I have hesitated to do this for a different reason. I think we need to allow this man tell a story and to explain who it is that he believes that he saw that day, exactly what he believes happened, since everything thus far that he has told me has checked out. I find him to be incredibly, or I should just say, I find him to be actually quite credible. He's very credible.
So when we meet him,
and he's very sincere, and I think it helps. I don't want to be the middle person. I don't want to be the middleman and tell you this guy's credible. I want you guys to feel the same way when he walks through what happened and how he was questioned and what his sense was of why it was happening. I want you to recognize his experience. I've reached out to him and I've said, look, we've got this last week on the show. Do you want to come on and tell your story? And he has said yes. And obviously, I think that we need to learn more about Brian Harpole's whereabouts. And I can tell you that I now know exactly which flight he was on when he came back from Tokyo. That was the thing that I had wrong. I said, oh, well, Tokyo had to have happened at the same time. I was wrong, obviously, because you gain so much time coming back. You essentially fly backwards in time. He actually lands into Los Angeles on a direct flight from Tokyo. And he's very sincere, and I think it helps. I don't want to be the middle person. I don't want to be the middleman and tell you this guy's credible. I want you guys to feel the same way when he walks through what happened and how he was questioned and what his sense was and
The
why it was
next time
happening.
it cut
I
off,
want you to
y'all, I'm gonna
recognize
have
his
to go ahead and
experience. I've
end
reached
it.
out to him and I've said, look, we've got this last week on the show. Do you want to come on and tell your story? And he has said yes. And obviously, I think that we need to learn more about Brian Harpole's whereabouts. And I can tell you that I now know exactly which flight he was on when he came back from Tokyo. That was the thing that I had wrong. I said, oh, well, Tokyo had to have happened at the same time. I was wrong, obviously, because you gain so much time coming back. You essentially fly backwards in time. He actually lands into Los Angeles on a direct flight from Tokyo, going down to Dallas, getting there very early into Dallas, early morning, very early morning on the 8th. It is possible for Harpole to be able to make that meeting. Fort Huachuca, it is just possible. So we are going to keep prodding this particular narrative because, like I said, I sense a panic here that is very real, and I've never seen this kind of a sustained psychological attack on my character, meaning they are now quite literally engaged in fan fiction. They're just making stuff up every day. I wake up and I go, I don't even know what this is about. None of this is true. And I've realized it's because they want to deplete our energy. They want to have our resources go to fighting stupid stuff. And we're sitting here and responding to every tit for tat, and we're not focusing on timelines and delivering
Right.
misinformation and reaching out. We only
Because I had
be
forgot
spending our
about
time
I had forgot
on
about
the
it.
Egyptian plains and what happened on Fort Huachuca base. Nothing else. And obviously, other stuff matters. You have information about what happened on September 10th. It matters. But this is where their panic is. These two things, it's very clear this is where their panic is. And I almost just
all the
finished
dots.
the,
Full
it's just one more
circle.
plane,
Involves every
SUBTV, that had the longest
favorite.
flight logs for the Egyptian
Involves
planes. I just wanted to get the finishing touches on
everybody
that before we put it onto our
favorite.
website. But that is
But
going
the
to be, I know I
chips
told you we're going to do
follow
that
their
today, but we're going to
name.
bump that until tomorrow because I
Become an
do feel
independent
confident in stating
thinker.
that those Egyptian planes are linked to Israel, and that fully explains the mass freak out. So we have, well, big days coming up ahead of us, guys. We're going to have this guy give you his testimony, and it's very controversial, but it is the truth, and we must follow it. And we are also going to make that accessible for you. Maybe I can even get it up tonight on CandaceOwens.com. And I also think that I should share the pictures of the inside of the car to the people who have been investigating that and have felt that things were real. And we'll take a brief pause here before I answer some of your questions and comments.
Okay, y'all. So I don't have to stay for the comments. I need to go ahead and end it because it's gonna cut off again. I have no energy, no juice left on the device. Everybody's favorites. Who is everybody's favorites? Who has favorites? Yeah. I got you, Big Pressure. Hi, sis, Miss Mocha. Okay, I'm finna sign off, y'all. It's 462 people in listening. Well, now it's 325. I said I'm signing out. They dropped down. I'm signing off. I'll see y'all tomorrow. Peace. Yeah, this is just, it's just too much. And I agree. She needs to stop entertaining all that other stuff because I almost forgot about the guy. I almost forgot about it. Well, I did forget about it because we got caught up in the Erica stuff. So stop entertaining the deflectors. What are they? I can't even think of what they call that. Yeah, we don't have time for that. Stick to what is connecting. But I don't know who's a favorite. There is no favorite. There's no favorite for me. But she has to stop entertaining the deflectors. And I need to process why would the SUV be considered a crime scene when that was only used to take him to the hospital, and why is there no 911 call? That's still a issue for me. And why wasn't the actual crime scene not taped off and considered a crime scene instead of painting over, cementing, and all of that type stuff? And there should have been, I mean, if you've ever seen a crime scene or somebody gets shot in a car or being transported, yeah, you see blood. I mean, that wasn't blood. That wasn't blood. Valhalla. I see y'all in Valhalla. Or whatever that means. That means that there's a place that's like, what is that? Something Bay. Camp something Bay. Where they used to hold them people. Yeah, hell. Alligator Island. I don't know. But I see y'all tomorrow. Kash Patel. Absolutely. Dan Bongino may be the Fed that's feeding her the information about them planes. She said it was a Fed.